It is just past 5 o'clock on the last Sunday afternoon in November. Temperature close to 5 Celsius outside Sky Dome. On a gray afternoon heading towards evening. Inside, well, of course it is climate controlled. Conditions are perfect. Will that be an advantage for the passing of Doug Flutie? Or will Winnipeg's huge offensive line simply roll over Calgary, opening big holes for Michael Richardson to roll on through? We are soon going to find out in what looks to be a classic confrontation. As we come to the south end of Sky Dome, you see the lights there, 3 lights on level number 4. That is our countdown booth, our home for the next 60 minutes. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brian Williams. Welcome to CBC's coverage of Grey Cup 92. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the Calgary Stampeders, with all this talk of expansion to Texas and California, will this be the last truly all-Canadian Grey Cup? The Grey Cup is a Canadian institution with a long, rich, and proud tradition.
Side of the field using West. A long lateral pass to West. West is away at the 20, the 25, the 30, 35, the 40, the 45, the 50.
The largest crowd to ever see a Grey Cup football game. Boys over there going along with the...
He disappears in the fog on the far side, and I don't know where he's brought down.
Well, here's the Grey Cup presentation to Russ Jackson, the quarterback who ends it all in storybook style.
McQuay, flipping, 11-yard line, lost the ball, and it is no good. There was a bad hold on that. That wasn't entirely Don Sweet's fault. On the snapback,
Gabriel is open in the end zone. Touchdown!
35-yard attempt for David Ridgway. It's up. It's good. If he gets to the outside this time, he's gone. The Rocket delivers the $1 million man. Flutie. Right off the right side. Dunnigan throws deep. Alford. Touchdown.
The marquee quarterbacks have led their teams to Sky Dome with the league championship on the line and definite plans on how to get it.
I hope I can have this success in this game that I've had throughout the year. You know, you take each play one play at a time, and whatever happens, happens. You try to execute, you try to do things by the book and try to make it work, and then if it doesn't, you just become instinctive and react and be an athlete.
I'm looking forward to the opportunity of competing against a great defense in the Grey Cup Classic. I'm concentrating on certain things and first downs and second downs and mediums and second downs and long situations. Keep the game broken up into fragments like that so I can take one play at a time and not think about winning a football game or the outcome of a football game, but rather than playing it.
Last year, tears of pain, tears of joy for Dunnigan with the Argonauts. 1 week ago, wearing Winnipeg Blue Bombers colors, Matt assured his 5th Grey Cup appearance. Winnipeg can run, evidenced by Michael Richardson's 200-plus yards against Hamilton. And their defense can physically back all the boasting. No one provides miracles like Doug Flutie. At his command, a fleet and nerveless receiving corps ready to enter enemy territory. Plus that swirling defense, quick, powerful, intent on putting down any offensive threats. So with the CFL's named players in the spotlight, the Grey Cup is indeed up for grabs.
The left guard, wearing number 59, Rocco Romano. Number 56, the center, Doug Davies. At right guard, number 58, Lou Capazzo. At right tackle, number 64, Ken Moore. Number 85, at wide receiver, Carl Bland. Also at wide receiver, number 83, Derek Crawford. At slot back, number 18, Alan Pitts. At the other slot back, number 25, David Sapunjis. Number 86, at wide receiver, Pee Wee Smith. The halfback, number 23, Keevan Jenkins. And the quarterback, number 20, Doug Flutie. Coach Wally Bono and the rest of the Calgary Stampeders. Go, baby!
Fun time. Let's take it. Snap on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Maintenant, l'allément partant effacé des champions de la Division Est, les Blue Bombers de Winnipeg. At left end, number 52, Mike Gray. Number 62, the nose tackle, Stan Mikawas. At right end, number 99, Vaughn Booker. The rest of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and Coach Urban Bowman. Now at center field, we ask you to welcome today's officiating crew. Les arbitres pour aujourd'hui, the referee, number 62, in his 8th Grey Cup game, Jake Ireland. Number 80, the umpire, Ken Pico. The headlinesman, number 24, Bill Higgins. The line judge, number 41, Dave Hutton. The side judge, number 79, Bernie Prusco. Number 58, the back judge, George Black. Number 54, the field judge, Alma Coleman. And today's alternate official, number 70, Don Ellis.
Am I throwing to...
Heading to center field for the coin toss, for le tirage au sort, please welcome the team captains from Calgary and Winnipeg. Referee Jake Ireland will perform the ceremony.
Good evening, gentlemen. Calgary captain, who's going to... Number 37, call it in the air, please. Stand back. It is ahead. Calgary, you have won the coin toss. Would you like to make a choice now or defer to the second half?
Make a choice
now.
I'll take the ball.
The ball? Have a good day.
Well, with the coin toss complete, the next piece of business here at Skydome is the ceremonial kickoff to be performed by prominent Canadian athlete Kurt Browning. As we await that, chance now for some final comments from our game day guests. Kent, what's the key to either quarterback getting off to a good start in this game, being effective early? Is that early big play, perhaps?
I think it's more important for Matt than it is for Doug. I think over 4 quarters, Doug will play very consistently and play very well. Matt has a tendency, if he blows up early, not to play well as the game goes on.
Ron, as a head coach, you've just led your team onto the field. What are you trying to do? Just keep things cool?
Keep them relaxed, you know, let them play. If you're on offense, make some first downs. Get a feel for the game. Get into the flow. You got to get in the flow of the game, and then let it go from there.
What would you have said to your players before they took the field?
Have fun, man. This is what it's all about.
Is it easy, though, Kent, to have fun in a Grey Cup game because the pressure is so immense? There's Kurt Browning, by the way, performing the ceremonial kickoff. And not a bad boot, we might say, relative to how those sorts of kicks have gone in years past. But Kent, back to you. Is it that easy to have fun in a game like this? Again, you were in this position 3 years ago. You got this out of it, the Grey Cup ring, but you know the pressure.
Well, it's always easier when you're playing well. I mean, when you start off slow like I did in the first quarter, you're not having too much fun. But I think as the game goes on and you get hit a few times, you complete some passes, most good quarterbacks will play well. We spent a whole lot of time here now talking about Matt Dunnigan and Doug Flutie. Who could the sleeper in this game be quickly from you, Kent? I think on Calgary side of the ball, Dave Sapunjas.
Pee-wee Smith, kick returner. Linebacker covering him, they got problems.
Okay, on the field now, we're all set for the national anthem. Jeff Healy is standing by.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and join with BMG recording artist Jeff Healy and the Jeff Healy Band for the singing of our national anthem. Et maintenant, l'hymne national.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons' command, carbon blooded when they the pay, il sait porter la croix, ton histoire et ton épopée, des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for
Well, 2 months ago, the Bombers were 6-7 and not looking like a playoff team. Now here they are in the Grey Cup, and it may be that Bob Molly appreciates this championship opportunity more than most of his teammates. That's because the veteran offensive lineman has declared his intention to retire after this game. He already has 2 Grey Cup rings. Can he make it a third in the final game of his career today? Now here's Chris at the Calgary bench.
Thanks, Scott. Here's the other Flutie in the CFL. Darren, a Western All-Star with 90 catches. Great year. You just had a chance to talk to Doug. How's he look?
He looks good. He seems real relaxed, which is a good sign. So he should come out throwing the ball pretty well.
From Heisman's to Hail Marys, how does the Grey Cup fit into what has been an illustrious career so far?
Well, he's real excited about this game. I think anytime you play for a championship within your league, it's a great thing to accomplish, and he's real excited.
And Brother Bill's writing about it in one of the Boston papers, I understand.
Yeah, they're real interested back in Boston what goes on with Doug. They've always been interested in Doug and everything he's accomplished, so they're going to be interested to see how it goes.
And Doug tells me that you're going on tour with them, a little rock band music in the off-season. Darren, thanks for joining us. We're headed upstairs to Don Whitman.
Thank you, Chris. Hi again, everybody. The 2 first-place teams, East and West. Calgary 13-5, Winnipeg 11-7, playing for the Grey Cup. The first time that has happened since 1985. This is the second Grey Cup game to be played at Skydome. We can only hope that it equals the drama and excitement of 1989. Interim head coach Urban Bowman, his first Grey Cup appearance as the man directing traffic behind a team bench. Wally Bueno has played in a Grey Cup. He twice has been on the winning side in 1974 and 77, and this is his second Grey Cup appearance as a head coach. He would like to rectify what took place at Winnipeg Stadium last year when his Stampeders lost 36-21 to that man and the Toronto Argonauts. Dunnigan, of course, with the shoulder injury that prevented him from playing in the Eastern Final, and then a late-minute starter for the Toronto Argonauts in the Grey Cup game itself. Doug Flutie last year with the BC Lions. He was unable to take his team to the championship game, but this year, wearing the colors of the Calgary Stampeders, he has made it to Skydome and the 1992 Grey Cup championship.
And what a contrast, Don, when you look at Matt Dunnigan. His eyes are wide open, and Doug Flutie looks like he might fall asleep, but don't you count on it. I know what he'd like to do. Send a message to the Winnipeg defense that they're going to have to cover all 5 receivers.
Really no choices to make following the coin toss. Weather conditions, of course, are not a factor inside the Skydome, and the Calgary Stampeders, winning the toss, wanted the ball to start the football game, and Troy Westwood kicks off. The game is underway. Pee Wee Smith on the kickoff return is brought down as he gets to the 35-yard line. That's where Calgary will scrimmage 1st and 10 after an 18-yard return by Pee Wee Smith.
And Doug Flutie has the 5-receiver pack in the lineup. He's only got 1 back, and that back is going to have to do a job of blocking to keep those linebackers off of Doug Flutie so that he can get some of those touchdowns he's famous for.
Flutie, the fastest in the CFL as a quarterback to pass for over 15,000 yards, a feat accomplished in just 3 seasons. Flutie out of the shotgun is throwing deep for Crawford. He's got it. The first play of the game goes for 39 yards. Flutie to Derek Crawford. He was hauled down by safety Andrew Thomas.
And that may be an omen of what we're going to see out of Derek Crawford. Derek Crawford is that guy who has been silent the last few weeks. Doug Flutie got a lot of pressure by Vaughn Booker, but he was able to put enough air under the ball that Crawford got underneath it.
Back to the live action. McVeigh comes into the ball game. Keyvan Jenkins takes the handoff, and he's stacked up right at the line of scrimmage. Vaughn Booker made the initial contact with Keyvan Jenkins. 3 1,000-yard receivers in the lineup of the Calgary Stampeders. The first time that has happened in Calgary team history. An offensive line, with the exception of Ken Moore, revamped from the team that faced the Argos in last year's Grey Cup game. Even Moore switched from the left to the right side. Penalty flag on the play. Flutie was looking at 2nd and 9. Vaughn Booker is pointing to Calgary, indicating that there was movement. But let's listen to the man in charge, Jake Ireland.
Offside. Winnipeg number 52. Still 7 down.
It's interesting how often those defensive players try to convince the official that the other guys moved. This is the way they line up, and it was Mike Gray who moved prior to the ball being snapped. The strength of Winnipeg's defense is their linebackers. Flutie rolls, throws, just out of reach of Dave Sapunjas. He was being covered by Bobby Evans. There is a feeling among many that the Calgary offense will be able to exploit Winnipeg's defensive backs. Rod Hill, the only member of Winnipeg's defensive unit to be named to the All-Star team.
And so far, Don, they haven't gone after Rod Hill. Many people thought Sampson and Hill would be the side they're working. That was the first pass they threw to their right.
Mark McLaughlin will attempt a 37-yard field goal. McLaughlin, the CFL scoring leader this year, puts the Stampeders on the board. A 37-yard field goal, and Calgary leads by a score of 3-0 with 12:44 remaining in the opening quarter.
So both teams get an indication here of taking over on the 35-yard line. Both teams identical field position from the beginning. Winnipeg, without great kick returners, elected to take the ball at the 35.
The computer in our pregame show predicted that McLaughlin would kick an early field goal. Matt Dunnigan rolls out. He's being chased. He turns back, dumps it off to Richardson. He's got a first down on the 45 to the 46, brought down by Stu Laird.
And there's a guy who was pumped up, and you saw Harold Hasselbeck right in on Matt Dunnigan, but the athletic ability of this fired-up leader showed through.
Matt Dunnigan is having plays called for him from the bench from assistant coach Mike Kelly. It took about a game and a half for Matt to get comfortable with that. On first down, he gives to Richardson. He loses the football, but I think he got it back. Calgary claim they recovered. But Richardson did come up with the ball. Kelly was saying it's very important that the quarterback and the assistant coach be on the same wavelength. On his wristband, Dunnigan has a series of plays that he is going to call. Kelly simply sends in a number via the communication as to the play that Dunnigan should call. 2nd and 5. Incomplete, intended for Creefel. He was being covered by Kenton Leonard.
I think that's going to be the key matchup, Don. That defensive secondary of Calgary, if they can hold up on that 2nd down. They got the Blue Bombers in a 2nd down situation because they did stop the run on 1st down. Great job by Kenton Leonard here.
Rob Creefel was the number 2 receiver this year with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, 798 yards. Bob Cameron stands at his own 36-yard line for this 3rd down kick. High punt. Pee Wee waits for it. He's forced back and down at the 10-yard line by Jason Jakovich. 10:42 the time remaining in the opening quarter. This is the 6th time that the Grey Cup game has been played indoors. The 2nd time at Skydome in 1989, 43-40. The Saskatchewan Roughriders defeated the Hamilton Tiger Cats in what many have described as the most exciting Grey Cup game ever. Calgary leading 3-0. 1st and 10 for the Stampeders from their own 11. Here's the pressure on Flutie. He throws deep. And a fine catch by a man who could very well emerge as the individual star of this game, Derek Crawford. Sometimes thought of as the forgotten man in the Calgary Stampeder passing attack. He broke his ankle in the first game of 1991, and it really took him until partway through this year to bounce back and fully recover.
It certainly did. He made a good adjustment to the football, but hey, what about Flutie's propensity to throw the short pass? He certainly isn't staying with the scouting report.
2 catches in this opening quarter for Derek Crawford for gains of 80 yards. 1st and 10 Calgary. The Stampeders from their own 52-yard line. Flutie for Bland, and he has a first down at the Winnipeg 44. Bland was the leading receiver in last year's game. 11 receptions in a losing effort against the Argos.
And this is a call right from the beginning, just a quick slant in, and that's what Doug Flutie's noted for, but we've seen him hit 2 long passes early in this ballgame.
Bland keeps the streak intact. He has caught a pass in every game as a member of the Calgary Stampeders. Andy McVeigh stacked up and driven back at the line of scrimmage.
And that's what you call a key breaker. What Flutie would like to do is control that defense by giving them the run every so often. That's just as good pass protection. When they have to feel the possibility of the run, now Flutie gets better help from his up front linemen.
Out of the shotgun formation, 3 receivers line up wide to the right. 2nd and 10. Flutie is throwing deep for Bland, just beyond his fingertips. He was being covered by Donald Smith.
And he's upset. There was a collision midway down the field, and he knows he would have had that reception had Donald Smith not bumped him. Just barely off his fingertips. And Donald Smith made, and you're allowed to take 1 hit at the defender as long as you're defending your zone. And here it comes. Now, that's not what you'd call a bullet pass, is it, Don?
Not really, and it was just beyond the reach of Carl Bland. A 50-yard field goal attempt by McLaughlin. This one goes wide, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will concede a single point. 8:15 remains in the opening quarter. Cal Murphy, sitting behind assistant coaches Ron Calcagni and Harold Hamilton, forced to turn over the coaching reins to Urban Bowman on the 4th of July prior to a preseason game against the Ottawa Roughriders. The line of scrimmage is the 43 as the result of the wide field goal attempt. Richardson is stacked up right at the line of scrimmage for no gain. Harold Hasselback made the tackle. Scott?
Well, Don, getting through this game, no easy task for Rod Hill. He's got a broken bone in the ball of his left foot. He had to have it injected with freezing before the game. He won't talk about it, but he hasn't practiced for a few weeks. The Stampeders know it, and I think it's more than a coincidence that they've thrown the ball to Derek Crawford against Rod Hill early in this game, Don.
This is a milestone game for Rod Hill, his 100th as a Blue Bomber. Matt Dunnigan throws to the sidelines, incomplete. He was looking for Larry Thompson. Junior Thurman defended for Calgary.
Once again, we're getting back to the key of this ball game, Don, and that is the ability to get Winnipeg into passing situations, because now Calgary's defensive backs can dominate the slower receivers on Winnipeg's side. However, if they don't get him into those long yardage situations and Richardson's having success with the run, that negates the defensive secondary.
Junior Thurman, a Western All-Star this year. He had a pair of interceptions during regular season play. Another fine punt by Bob Cameron. Crawford tries to get to the outside, now cuts back into the middle, and he's upset at the 34-yard line.
Well, that's a great matchup. You've got excellent kicking from Winnipeg and really good returners on that Calgary side.
A 21-yard return for Crawford. In each of the last two games, Crawford has returned a punt for a touchdown, but it has been wiped out by a penalty flag. While Mike Kelly helps Matt Dunnigan call plays, assistant coach John Huffnagel calls a good portion of the plays for Doug Flutie. And Flutie, in accepting the Outstanding Player Award on Thursday night, acknowledged the job that Huffnagel has done this year. Keevan Jenkins carries to the 35-yard line.
And that is just trying to establish the fact that they can run with the football. But one of the things that's taken Winnipeg out of their defense is they've got James West out here covering a wide receiver.
West told Urban Bowman prior to the game that he would have a good one today. And in the past, when he has claimed that he would play well, he has lived up to his boast. Flutie throws for Pee Wee Smith. He's got it. He took it in front of Bobby Evans at the 47-yard line. Another big play for Calgary, 28 yards the gain.
And Doug Flutie is taking full advantage of what we call a dash situation. He will come back. He's getting a block from his back, cracking back, and then he will come around to the outside, giving him enough time to get the ball deep downfield. And how about Flutie getting that ball as deep as he has in this game?
One of the coaches said one of the problems in playing Flutie is you can't coach against impromptu. Sapungis is caught by Thomas. Very close to a 10-yard gain.
And that's the guy Flutie will go to most often when he's in trouble, Dave Sapungis. They actually had an outside pass rusher unblocked, and Sapungis knew Flutie was in trouble. Good communication between the two.
Sapungis, the first non-import since Jerry Shaw in 1972 to catch passes for over 1,000 yards for the Calgary Stampeders. He has had a career season, second and a yard. Flutie will keep. He'll get the first down, driving to the Winnipeg 35-yard line with 5:04 remaining in the opening quarter.
Well, there's the chairman of the board. If they just came on a business trip, then Wally Buono has to be the chairman of the board. I guess you'd say Doug Flutie might be the president.
Calgary has totally dominated opponents this year in the opening quarter. Not until the 9th game of the year did they allow the opposition a first quarter touchdown. 11 times during the year, they shut out the opposition in the opening quarter. Here's pressure. Flutie throws for Crawford, just beyond his reach.
That was an all-out blitz. When you get an all-out blitz is when the safety comes out of his position and covers one of the receivers. The advantage that Flutie has with 5 receivers, he can read the blitz. He knew it was coming, nearly had a touchdown.
Darrell Sampson was coming from his halfback spot. Flutie had to unload looking for Derek Crawford, and it was just beyond his reach with 4:19 remaining in the opening quarter. It's 2nd and 10. The ball is at the Winnipeg 35. 6 receivers in the Calgary formation. Flutie throws to the left for Sapunjas. Touchdown!
Doug Flutie's doing exactly what he wants to do with that defense. He's asking them to show him what coverage they'll be in. And so far, they've had to do it. They have excellent receivers on both sides. And he went to Sapunjas because the other side had the defensive back. He's going away from the side of the defensive back coverage. So he's reading Andrew Thomas whenever the safety comes up in coverage. Doug Flutie knows he's got the touchdown. And Dave Sapunjas said, I'd love to be an outstanding player in this game.
He has Calgary in front, 11-0. Western Ontario grad Dave Sapunjas was the Canadian player of the game in the 1991 Grey Cup game. His hair has started to grow back in, Joe. He shaved his head when he was having difficulty scoring touchdowns earlier in the year. For a time, it looked as though he might be a 1,000-yard receiver without a single touchdown.
But Sampson is back.
Bruce Plummer on the kickoff return to Winnipeg fights his way out to the 38-yard line. Let's take another look at the Sapunjas touchdown, a 35-yard strike from Doug Flutie.
And Flutie read blitz, so he knew he was getting one-on-one coverage. Andrew Thomas on Sapunjas, and Sapunjas doesn't want to win the outstanding Canadian. He wants to win the outstanding player.
A career season for Dave Sapunjas, number 6 in CFL pass receiving statistics. And so far, the Calgary Stampeders have not gone to the man who led the league in pass receiving, Alan Pitts. Penalty flags fly before Matt Dunnigan can get the ball away. Looks like it could be procedure.
Oh boy. That'll take him out of the running situations.
Procedure. Winnipeg number 81. Still first down.
Urban Bowman did not want his team to self-destruct, and penalties can be difficult to contend with. The team that has scored the first touchdown of the game has not had a great deal of success in recent years. Here's Richardson cutting back into traffic, and he is downed at the 38-yard line by Kenton Leonard. Richardson is not only an outstanding runner, the only 1,000-yard rusher this year in the CFL, but he's a pretty good pass receiver.
He can do it all, Don. He's a great blocker, good pass receiver, and that was just a long handoff. If they can get him out to the outside like that and take advantage of his athletic ability, the big thing they have to do is not get themselves in second and long yardage.
He recovered the 5 yards that had been lost in the penalty. Dunnigan on the option, and Dunnigan carries up to the 45-yard line. He faked the toss to Richardson, but the Stampeders were not buying it. Marvin Pope and Delondra Johnson combined to bring him down from their linebacking position.
Well, here you see Pope. They call him Big Daddy Pope for obvious reasons. He's a big man. He comes off the block, and his job is to take either Hudson or Richardson. But Alondra Johnson's the guy that's got to take the quarterback. He's assigned to Matt Dunnigan.
You think that Pope, during the course of the game, will basically be keying on Michael Richardson?
I think that's their defensive scheme. He's going to be sending his down lineman in a certain direction, but he'll always go to where Richardson is.
Cameron has been busier than he wanted to be so far in this opening quarter. This punt not as good as his previous two. Crawford is down at the 30-yard line. Now let's bring in Alfie.
John, Robbie Alamar's been wowing them all season during the baseball season. He has his own fan club right behind me, and here he is today, just a spectator. Robbie, I promised you we wouldn't talk about football, and I wondered, have you had a chance to enjoy the World Series title?
Yeah, I enjoy it. I think so. It's one of the things that any player worked for it, and that we worked for it, and we did it. And because we did it more for the fans, and we feel real proud about it.
What have you been doing since you've won the title?
Well, I've been spending a lot of time here in Canada. I want to know about the city a little bit more, and I've been doing a lot of car show and a lot of business. So I just doing a lot of stuff for charity, and I've been doing a few things.
Robbie, thanks for your time. I'll let you get back to the game. Don?
All right, Alfie, and there are people who believe that Alomar should have been the American League MVP.
I believe it.
Keevan Jenkins lost the football on the hit by James West, but they ruled that he was down. The whistle had gone, so the Stampeders retained possession. 2nd and 9, Calgary. The ball just shy of the 32-yard line. Flutie operating out of the shotgun. He has been most effective with this six-pack. 3 receivers to either side of the field, and he completes another. The first to Alan Pitts, but they rule he had stepped out of bounds before making the catch. So Calgary will be forced to punt for the first time. Scott?
Well, Don, coming into this game, the Bombers were greatly concerned about containing Doug Flutie, stopping him from scrambling. But that doesn't matter if all he's going to do is take a 3-step drop and throw bombs on the Winnipeg defense. That's what he's been doing. They just convened an emergency meeting of the Winnipeg defense here at the bench, and it's all about finding a way to get pressure on Flutie. The Bombers know if they can't, this could be over early.
The Bombers may have to change their blitzing package if they are going to cause problems for Doug Flutie this afternoon. Martino stands at the 18-yard line for this 3rd down punt. Just one man back, and that is Plummer. It's a short kick. It bounces back to the line of scrimmage. Martino overran it. Martino came racing up and overran the football.
Well, the ball took a bounce, and Martino can recover that football. Remember, he's the onside man, so he could come up and recover it, but as the ball slid to the outside, he looked like he was sliding into home plate, like Roberto Alomar.
Only a 16-yard kick by Martino, and as he came racing up trying to recover, he overran the ball.
No yards against number 11. He is the kicker. There is no penalty. First down.
And that's why the penalty is negated, as Martino, the kicker, as you pointed out, Joe, has the opportunity to recover. But Urban Bowman looks on as his team has its best field position of the game. 1st and 10 from the Calgary 48. Dunnigan dropping straight back. He's throwing deep for Richardson, just beyond his reach. Richardson with pretty good speed to get that deep on the 1st down play. Matt Finlay, the linebacker, was attempting to run with him.
This is every linebacker's nightmare. I mean, your job is supposed to be up there defending against the run, and you have certain pass coverage responsibilities. And that means you're man-to-man, and he had enough time, Dunnigan did, to get that ball all the way downfield. But not a bad job by Finlay. At least he stayed with him.
Matt Finlay, another of the Calgary Stampeder defensive players who was chosen to the Western All-Star team. Winnipeg 2nd and 10 from the 48. Richardson is stacked up after a gain of just a couple of yards. You know, the second time these teams met this season, in Winnipeg's 17-16 win, Richardson ran for 193 yards. And most people were expecting that he would have some success running against Calgary today.
And it looks like they've gone away from the run on 1st down. They've run a bootleg on the first play series. This time Dunnigan tried the bomb. So I don't think they're conceding the run, but they have certainly found out that Calgary can defend against the run.
This kick, a field goal try of 52 yards may be at the maximum of Troy Westwood's limit inside the Sky Dome. He said the ball doesn't seem to travel as far here, and it doesn't. He said 45 yards is probably about his limit. On the return, Pee Wee Smith is tripped up at the 26-yard line. A 24-yard run back. Troy Westwood, number 2 in CFL scoring, fails to put the Bombers on the board on the final play of the opening quarter.
Here's to the everyday things that end up being everything. Here's to all things simple, with casual clothing and footwear from Marks.
This Grey Cup Sunday, we hope you're enjoying the action from Sky Dome in Toronto as the Calgary Stampeders take an 11-0 lead into the second quarter, and they will scrimmage 1st and 10 from their own 25-yard line. Flutie sends 3 receivers left this time. Now 3 come out to the right as well as he operates from the shotgun and throws for Crawford. All the way to the Winnipeg 49, brought down by Andrew Thomas.
Well, Don, we talked about how they would cover that extra receiver all week, and you said that Greg Battle had played some in the secondary, and he was man-to-man on Crawford, so that's a tough assignment for a linebacker to have to come out there and cover a fine receiver like Crawford. So he got some help on the tackle from Thomas.
It took a while this year for Crawford to rebound to the form that he exhibited prior to the broken ankle in the first game of 1991, but he is having a great Grey Cup performance so far. And Carl Bland grabs a Flutie pass for another Calgary first down at the Winnipeg 37-yard line. Statistically, a huge edge so far for the Stampeders, as you might expect. 173 yards, 167 of them through the air as Flutie puts on a show.
And is he ever putting on a show? Doug Flutie is reading the defense prior to the snap, just coolly stepping back and throwing timing patterns, doing an excellent job.
The first quarterback since Warren Moon to have back-to-back 5,000-yard passing seasons, and there's the first man to have back-to-back 100-yard reception seasons, Alan Pitts of the Calgary Stampeders.
I'll tell you how fast Flutie's throwing the football. Lorenzo Baker came back on a loop to the inside, and he was unblocked, but Flutie threw the ball before he could get to him, and that's a nice job of running the pass route.
Alan Pitts led the CFL in receptions this year. Lorenzo Baker, along with Randolph on the other side, both have the speed from a linebacking position to cover receivers, but they have had some problems trying to defend against Flutie's quick release as he hits Bland for another Calgary first down.
Well, there's Wally Buono, and what he's trying to tell him is that you got to throw that football out here because one of those guys is uncovered. You got to put as many defensive people out there as you've got offensive receivers, and they didn't do it.
Urban Bowman was saying that one of Flutie's strengths is that he does so many good things after the ball is snapped. It appears, though, Joe, he's reading Winnipeg's defense pretty well thus far in the game. Pee Wee Smith gets a block from Crawford and then is forced out of bounds by Darrell Sampson.
Excellent job of reading, as you said, Don. And what we went into this ball game expecting was that Matt Dunnigan would be the guy to do the reading and to throw the long passes. But hey, Flutie's been throwing some long balls.
Flutie has completed 11 of 15 passes so far for 238 yards. Here comes the pressure. Baker after him, but Flutie gets the pass away. It looks as though it's going to be a couple of yards short of the first down. Keevan Jenkins took it on the sidelines close to the 10-yard line. They had to get to the 8 for a first down.
And Wally Buono showing him where the ball should have been spotted. I guess that was the first play we saw Doug Flutie actually scramble and try to make an adjustment.
Leading by a score of 11-0 with 11:43 remaining in the second quarter. Mark McLaughlin will attempt his third field goal of the game. Out of the hold of Steve Taylor, it's good. And the Stampeders are out in front by 14. Thursday night, Doug Flutie was named the CFL's outstanding player for the second year in a row. The way he has started this football game, it appears he's intent on also becoming the outstanding player of the Grey Cup game. And following the game, we will be presenting the Chrysler Outstanding Player of the Game. The winner will receive the keys to a 1993 Intrepid. Winnipeg 1st and 10 from the 35. Dunnigan dumps it off to Richardson, and Matt Finlay did an excellent job of staying with the Winnipeg running back.
Well, he certainly did. On that play, he didn't have to defend him all the way down the field, and he looked happy about it. We'd rather have him run an outcut. Running towards the sideline, Richardson isn't as dangerous as he is running down the field.
.10:54 is the time remaining on the scoreboard clock. Referee Jake Ireland has gone to the official timekeeping bench to confer with the officials. I'm not sure whether they are making an adjustment or what it might be. Apparently there's a whistle in the stands. One of the spectators has been blowing a whistle that has been causing some confusion on the playing field.
There were a few whistles in the hotel last night when I was trying to sleep.
Last night and all morning. 2nd and 8. Dunnigan fakes. Dunnigan is in trouble. Dunnigan throws deep over the head of Richardson. Penalty flag on the play. Dunnigan did that spinning maneuver to get away from the initial pressure.
That's the exciting thing about the CFL. The quarterbacks with that maneuverability, they're trying to dodge those defensive linemen.
Rubbing passer. Calgary number 96. First down.
A rushing the passer call will provide the Blue Bombers with a first down. It's called on Shriko Zizakovic.
And it looks like that's a little bit of an overkill. I don't think he was really in much of a danger. And Shriko, I guess it's because of the size factor. When you're twice as big as the quarterback, you're not allowed to hit him.
10:15 remaining in the half. 14-0 Calgary leads Winnipeg. The Bombers have a first down at the 52-yard line. Richardson inside for a gain of about 3. So far, Richardson has not been breaking through the line like he did in the Eastern Final, where he romped for 227 yards against the Hamilton Ticats. He carried 33 times in that game.
And they're getting good play on the defensive line by Harold Hasselback and, of course, Kent Warnock. And Big Daddy Pope comes in to stop those runs as well.
Richardson so far has carried 4 times, but has managed just 9 yards. On second down, penalty flag on the play as Alphen took a hit in reaching for the football.
And Junior Thurman took a piece of Alphen. He didn't let him get downfield.
Darrell Hall was there as well. Hall, for a good portion of the year, was playing a linebacking position. And it may have been Hall's hit that did the damage to Gerald Alphen, and indeed it is.
Well, there's no pads where Darrell Hall came up to hit Gerald Alphen. That's the soft spot, and that hurts.
Gerald Alphen missed the first half of the season. A free agent signing by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on September 9th. 9:22 remains in the half.
separates Toronto and Winnipeg. Winnipeg is a CFL town with their team several thousand kilometers away from home at Skydome today. There are several thousand supporters holding a huge Grey Cup party inside the Winnipeg Arena. They're watching the game on giant TV screens, and with the Bombers trailing 14-0, Don, they're about to find out what their team is made of.
And as they look on, Scott, I'm sure they're relieved to see, as are all Blue Bomber fans, that Gerald Alphen apparently is okay and will be back. Richardson, the ball carrier. This is the deepest penetration the Bombers have made. The pass interference call against Junior Thurman, producing a gain of 21 yards. And Richardson carries for about 4 more. It will be 2nd and 6. Marvin Pope, the middle linebacker, came over to make the tackle.
What they're doing is Richardson is going to follow. He's going to just follow his offensive guard. And if he gets the big blocking out there by David Black, right there on Alondra Johnson, Pope was left to make the tackle.
Winnipeg 2nd and 6. The Bombers trail 14-0. Hitch screen intended for Thompson, and Alondra Johnson did a fine job of getting over to cover. Larry Thompson, the intended receiver.
Well, that's a tough call. I mean, it's 3rd down and about 7, and they're trying to throw a pass that only covered 1 yard and then make him run the rest of the way. Alondra Johnson would have nothing from it.
Troy Westwood will attempt another field goal. This one within his range. It will be a 38-yard try. He was having difficulties in pregame warm-up from beyond the 45-yard line. This one is blocked. Junior Thurman has the ball, and he's brought down at the midfield stripe. Two Calgary Stampeders came up the middle to block it, and Junior Thurman grabbed the loose football.
And what you have to get in here, your center has to snap that football and get it off quickly, but you've also watched the penetration inside. Those linemen have to stay square. They didn't do it.
Pope, the linebacker, blocked it. Junior Thurman recovered, and Bruce Plummer made the tackle at the 53. 7:56 remains in the half. 1st and 10 Calgary. The Stampeders lead it 14-0. Keevan Jenkins will get a gain of 6, maybe even 7 yards. Pope had an outstanding Western final against the Edmonton Eskimos, and he's continuing the fine play in Grey Cup 92.
And that weight, 258 pounds, belies the kind of speed that this guy has. He's got tremendous power and speed.
Flutie is looking at 2nd and 3 from the Winnipeg 50-yard line. He fakes inside. His pass intended for Carl Bland is incomplete. For the 2nd time, Tony Martino will enter the ball game as the Calgary punter. His first kick traveled just 16 yards. Stampeder owner Larry Rickman has to be very pleased with what he has witnessed thus far. Last year, his team won the statistical battle, but lost the football game to the Toronto Argonauts 36-21.
So he went out and got the outstanding player last year and this year to play quarterback for him, and it certainly has paid off so far in this game.
Bruce Plummer, the lone man back for Martino's punt. He's standing close to his own goal line. Here comes the pressure from Winnipeg. This time a much better kick by Martino. Plummer is down at the 15-yard line. That's where Winnipeg will scrimmage 1st and 10 with 6:44 remaining in the half.
Back at Skydome, it's 14-0 second quarter for Calgary, and what will be the final Canadian Football League game for veteran Stu Laird as well as Greg Peterson. Both Canadians in their 9th year looking for their first rings. They were going to tell their teammates prior to the game that this was it, and then they thought maybe that would be putting too much pressure on their teammates. Don?
Peterson, who will embark upon a law career. Stu Laird is a Calgary fireman. Dunnigan overthrows Gerald Alphen, who is back in the ball game for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He was being covered by Kenton Leonard.
And wherever Matt Dunnigan goes, Alondra Johnson goes.
Look at that statistic. Total domination so far by Calgary. Winnipeg has had problems getting the ball to anybody but Michael Richardson. Apart from Dunnigan's carry for 7 yards, all of Winnipeg's offense has come as the result of running or pass catching by Michael Richardson. Dunnigan's sideline pass to Warren Hudson. This will be close to a first down, depending on the spot. It looks as though it's beyond the 25-yard line, and it is a Winnipeg first down.
And Matt Dunnigan had to reroute his drop back because Kent Warnock got in the way, so Matt rerouted himself, and then he got the ball out to the big guy. Warren Hudson, he's a capable guy. He can block, catch the football, and he's not a bad runner.
He was named the outstanding player in 1990, the outstanding Canadian player for Winnipeg in the Grey Cup game. 5:34 the time remaining in the first half. The toss to Richardson, and Richardson is being very well defended by Alondra Johnson and Kenton Leonard. Oh, to be a dog.
Well, there's another guy getting thrown around, Marvin Pope.
Second and 10 Winnipeg. Chris Walby and Pope having an exchange of words. Pope wasn't in the lineup the last time these teams met. Dunnigan throws deep for Alford. He can't catch up with it. And Dunnigan took a hit as he unloaded from Marvin Pope.
That was a delayed blitz, Don. And Dunnigan was dropping back. Everybody was blocked up. Marvin Pope came in at the last minute and really unloaded his 258 pounds on Matt Dunnigan. And you know, Urban Bowman said Matt Dunnigan's healthier than he's been all year. Maybe not after Marvin Pope hit him.
Not only is Calgary racking up the numbers statistically, but they are playing a very physical football game.
That's a bad landing right there.
Matt Dunnigan missed a good portion of the season, of course, as the result of injuries.
And you know, Wally Buono told us yesterday that he didn't like the idea of people saying that they weren't a physical defensive football team. They have a lot of skill on offense, and Gerald Elfman just couldn't get to that football, so Matt Dunnigan took that big hit virtually for nothing. But he gave the hit for something.
Coach Buono anticipated that Pope playing the middle might have a good Grey Cup game against Winnipeg, and he has definitely excelled at that inside linebacking position thus far. Bob Cameron's third down punt sailing to Crawford at the 35-yard line. Crawford forced out of bounds, and there's a penalty flag on the play. Brendan Rodgers took a hit and went flying out of bounds.
Dwayne Ford just came over and made it an obvious clip, and that's not a good decision by Dwayne. Didn't help the play. It certainly will take them back 15 yards. Unnecessary.
A 28-yard return by Crawford, but a portion of that gain will be wiped out by the hit by Brendan Rodgers, on Brendan Rodgers.
Flipping. Calgary number 31. First down.
Dwayne Ford, a backup running back, and he doesn't get the play very often, so coaches won't be very happy with him.
Legitimate flip.
Another of many fine products out of Western Ontario, playing in the Canadian Football League. From the shotgun, first and 10 Calgary. Randolph came in, but Flutie unloaded to Crawford. And this will be close to another first down. James West took the feet out from under Crawford. Flutie is reading the pressure, reading the Winnipeg blitz package, and is reacting to it with that quick dump over the middle.
And nobody could do what James West did. He was actually out covering a receiver, and he came back and made the tackle on a screen pass. There aren't many linebackers that could do that. Good play by James West.
This one is close enough to measure, but it is short of a first down by that much. Chris?
And Derek Crawford certainly has been the story of this first half. He was knocked woozy in the first quarter, and it took a little while for the smelling salts to kick in. They've had an ice bag on the back of his head whenever he's at the bench, but yet he keeps churning up the yards.
Crawford has had a number of apparent touchdowns called back this year as the result of penalty. A good punt return wiped out by a penalty. 2nd and inches, Calgary. Doug Flutie is throwing back, but his forward progress before Vaughn Booker grabbed him should provide Calgary with sufficient yardage for a first down.
And Don, looking at that play, I can't help but remember last week when Doug Flutie ran the quarterback sneak with one shoe on and one half off, kicked the shoe off and went in for the winning touchdown.
Flutie looking to the bench to John Huffnagel for some assistance in calling the next play. The ball is at the 54-yard line. 1st and 10, Calgary. 3:14 is the time remaining in the opening half. The Stampeders with 11 first quarter points, 3 so far in the second quarter. 2 of Winnipeg's first downs, the result of penalties. Over the middle for Sapunjas. He's caught by Greg Battle. His gain is limited to about 4 yards. 2nd and 6, Calgary. The ball is at the Winnipeg 52. 2:43 remaining in the first half. Mekawis can't catch Flutie. Flutie finds Bland. First down. Calgary at the Winnipeg 34. Flutie is picking apart the Winnipeg secondary.
What Doug Flutie is doing, and he's simply going back, and what normally you will see is 2 linebackers here, but because of the coverage, they're outside looking at the receivers. So Doug Flutie just picks the side where he can get his mismatch.
Again from the shotgun. 1st and 10, Calgary. Flutie finds Bland again. And it's another Calgary first down at the Winnipeg 17-yard line. Bobby Evans and Andrew Thomas make the tackle. Joe, Winnipeg is not getting any pressure on Doug Flutie. They usually come with their linebackers, but Flutie has been able to pick out his receivers.
And what Doug Flutie has done so well is get rid of the ball quickly. The pass rush of Winnipeg is their strong suit, and it's not effective on them. But what a hit. Those 2 guys hit each other. Evans took the worst of that.
Calgary 1st and 10 from the 16. The Stamps lead 14-0. Looking to add to their lead. And this is well over the head of Alan Pitts. I'm not sure whether it was Pitts or Carl Bland who were both in the same area. But Lorenzo Baker may have hurried the throw of Doug Flutie.
Lorenzo Baker did a good job, and then Pitts got tied up with Bland. Now that's supposed to work against the defense. We saw that play last week where they rub each other off. It didn't work.
So far, Winnipeg fans haven't had a great deal to cheer about. It's been all Calgary. Doug Flutie is putting on a bit of a clinic this afternoon or this evening at Skydome in Grey Cup 92. James West is after Flutie. Flutie looks downfield. He gets away from West, throws back to Keevan Jenkins. And Jenkins gets to the 10-yard line. And that's another thing Flutie does throw so well, the throwback.
Well, now that you think you got Doug Flutie cornered, then your troubles just begin, because he'll get that fish hook going. He just does a little loop back to the other side of the field, and there's nobody better than Doug Flutie at finding a receiver open. I don't know how he found Keevan Jenkins on the other side of the field.
But Jenkins is stopped short of a first down, so Mark McLaughlin comes into the game. His 4th field goal attempt. And he has now made 3 of them. With 1:20 remaining in the first half, it's 17-0 Calgary.
Now it's really important for Winnipeg to establish something. They've got to come back offensively. This is like a boxer that's been taking a lot of blows. Winnipeg has got to start delivering some blows to get themselves, not bad, 17 points isn't that bad for all of the yardage they've given up.
Matt Dunnigan has apparently recovered from the hit on the last offensive series from Pope. He gives the ball to Richardson, but Richardson simply cannot get on track. Scott?
Don, in our Grey Cup edition of Live at the Half today, we're going to go live to Boston to talk to Doug Flutie's college coach, Cowboy Jack McNell. And we'll be here at Skydome on the field to watch Dan Hill and Celine Dion in a command performance. I saw the rehearsal earlier today, and they were outstanding. As I said, we'll talk to Jack McNell. And our game day analysts, Kent Austin and Ron Lancaster, will have lots to say about Doug Flutie's first-half performance, I'm sure.
Pass complete to Gerald Alf, and there was a penalty flag on the play.
That'll be offensive pass interference. They tried the pick play, the old basketball, rubbing him off, and they got caught.
Larry Thompson is guilty of the pick.
There you see, that's illegal. If you actually come in and block the man, it's illegal. But if you're running a pass route and the two defenders block each other, then that's okay. See, Thompson is not very deceptive. He went right after him. That's no-no.
Larry, you have to be a little more discreet.
And this is bad because it takes Winnipeg out of their ability to run the football. Their big linemen really are negated.
2nd and 18. Dunnigan dropped for a loss. Kent Warnock, the Warrior, got to him.
Well, the Warrior's been banged up and injured this year. And he had an opportunity to play well. And he is playing in this game. He's done some good things on the run. He's done some good things on the pass. And look what happened to Gerald Elfin. He gets chucked at the line of scrimmage. Boom. Then A.J. chucks him again. He's never getting an opportunity to get open.
Signing autographs this afternoon, the star of Grey Cup 91 at Winnipeg, and the last man to return a kickoff in the CFL for a touchdown, Raghib the Rocket Ismail.
Well, he looks like he could get open.
The Rocket was the outstanding player in the Grey Cup game. Adam Rita, leading the Argos to a Grey Cup win, was named Coach of the Year. Replaced late in the year by Dennis Meyer as the Argo field boss. Crawford waits for the ball at the 43-yard line, and he's tripped up. Downfield tackle by Don Smith with 41 seconds remaining. A 50-yard kick and a 7-yard return. Well, the Calgary Stampeders are in front by 17, and the team leading at the half has lost 3 of the last 5 Grey Cups. But I don't think the margin has been as big as the one the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are facing today.
Well, 17 points is not a huge margin in the CFL. We've seen teams get that in one quarter easily.
You think there might be a Winnipeg quarterbacking change in the second half?
Possible.
Flutie's pass is knocked down. Paul Randolph got a hand up. If they can keep Flutie in the pocket, Winnipeg defenders try and get their hands up to prevent Flutie from throwing down the lanes.
Here's James West. Now he's trying to chuck those receivers, and wow, he got a good hit on Sapunjas. Used to be easy to play wide receiver.
It can take a lot of hits as you're attempting to get into your pass pattern. This play doesn't get underway. There's a penalty flag prior to the ball being snapped with 35 seconds remaining in the half.
And I'll bet, they haven't said it,
Still second down.
I'll bet you Doug Davies is flexing his arm just a little bit on that shotgun formation. That's the second time they've jumped off sides when Flutie lines up deep in the backfield. So I would give Doug Davies a little credit for faking the snap.
The second time that Mike Gray has been the player caught. Flutie sidearms it to Alan Pitts. There's a penalty flag at the 50-yard line. Pitts will have a first down pending the penalty call. Holding against Calgary with 28 seconds remaining. Scott talked about the interest in this game in Boston, and we say hello to all viewers in the United States who are watching today's game on Sports Channel America.
especially those in New England, close to Flutie Pass, Natick, Mass.
The Flutie family is here watching Doug perform today, and he has put on quite a show thus far in Grey Cup 92. 2nd and 15 out of the shotgun. Flutie throws deep, well over the head of Carl Bland. Again, he may have been hurried in throwing the ball by Paul Randolph and Lorenza Baker, as the two linebackers were both coming from the outside.
Looks like a little bit of strategy change on the part of Winnipeg. They're not so much concerned with the coverage, allowing their free safety to get involved in the coverage. That frees up the linebackers to rush the passer. So I think Urban Bowman is saying, let's go for it. And Mike Kelly saying, let's get some points on the board.
Bowman and Kelly already thinking about what they might discuss and plot at halftime, hoping to change the way this game has developed thus far. Plummer fields the ball, and there's nowhere to go, although he breaks contain and gets to the outside, forced out of bounds. It initially looked as though he was going to be stopped by Doug Brewster. With 10 seconds remaining, he was able to spin away and get to the sideline.
Well, remember who's the coach for Winnipeg now. Urban Bowman, the inventor of the playground play. Could he have something up his sleeve with 10 seconds to go?
I really don't think so. I believe he'll be quite content to go to the dressing room and try and regroup, try and get something going in the second half. As you said, 17 points is not insurmountable. Intended for Thompson, deflected by Junior Thurman, and it's a good thing he got a finger on it, because Thompson, with his speed, had maneuvered in behind Thurman. But on the other side of the field, Winnipeg had a receiver wide open.
Well, Junior Thurman saved the day here. He just got up and tipped it, but we saw Frank Pillow on the other side. And remember the Hail Mary pass to Frank Pillow that beat the Argos and sent them out of the playoffs.
You think Pillow's coming back saying to Dunnigan, hey, I was wide open on the last play?
I would bet on it. Of course, the quarterbacks say the receivers always tell them that they're wide open.
Hit screen to Thompson. He needs some blocking help. He doesn't get it. Alondra Johnson, who has played a strong game, comes over to make the tackle on the final play of the first half. So the Calgary Stampeders go to the dressing room, leading the Winnipeg Blue Bombers by a score of 17-0. A game dominated thus far by Calgary's defense and the passing of Doug Flutie. Chris, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers facing a 17-point deficit to start the second half, and they will get the football as McLaughlin kicks it off to Plummer. And Plummer is hit hard at the 35-yard line. The man who brought him down was Pee Wee Smith. Well, the computer projected 94 yards for Calgary in the first half. They actually had a whopping 312. And Winnipeg did not come close to what the computer had projected, 55 yards as compared to 141. This is the statistical story of the first half, and it's been all Calgary. Matt Dunnigan continues at quarterback to start the second half. The handoff to Richardson. The first time he's been able to break into the open this afternoon. That's a gain of 13.
That's exactly what Winnipeg's going to have to do, is to get those big guys out in front and let Mike Richardson have those good first downs. A big key to this ball game will be Richardson's ability to run on first down with some big linemen in front of him.
Richardson with just 29 rushing yards so far today. On first down, Dunnigan is going to air it out. Incomplete, intended for Thompson. He was being covered by Junior Thurman. Thurman has done a pretty good job in defending against Thompson, Winnipeg's only 1,000-yard receiver.
Well, I think he's sitting out there in the corner and he's trying to take away anything deep. If you play all deep passes against him, then you've got an opportunity. And Thompson has been a deep threat, and they know Dunnigan loves to go for the bombs. Winnipeg 2nd and 10. The ball is at the 43-yard line.
incomplete, intended for Pillow, and Dunnigan was throwing that time into double coverage.
And that is the strength, once again, of the defense of Calgary. They love to come up there, double cover on the wideouts. And here comes Pillow as he breaks back to the inside. You can see right there is Peterson waiting for him.
Anthony, Kent, and Leonard were also there.
Surprising, Dunnigan had good success. First down running, and then he went back to that passing attack on first down. And I guess we talked about that all week, huh, Don? Whether or not he would have patience to stay with the run.
Pee-wee Smith is forced out of bounds by Matt Pierce. Scott?
Well, Don, no paint-peeling lectures from Urban Bowman to his players at halftime of this game with them down 17-0. You may be surprised to learn what it was he did. He walked into the room, turned the lights out, and said, "Gentlemen, no talking. Sit here in the pitch black and visualize what you must do in the second half of this ball game."
I don't think he was suggesting anything like that.
Goodness sakes. Better turn the lights back on.
The Argos were shut out by Calgary this year at Skydome. Sapunjas on the receiving end of the Doug Flutie throw. That will be very close to another Calgary first down. Wally Buono's team in 6 quarters has not allowed a point at Skydome this year.
Well, is the quarterback good or are the receivers good? In this case, I'd say that was a receiver's catch.
A combination of fine receiving talent, and Doug Flutie is getting the time to throw the football. One of the big improvements this year with Calgary, last year they gave up 73 quarterback sacks. This year they gave up only 34. Saskatchewan had the best record in the league, giving up 33. Part of that is attributable to the scrambling ability of Doug Flutie.
And the good job that George Cortez has done with those young up-front linemen.
1st and 10 from the 37-yard line. Flutie loses the football. Actually, he flipped it out. He flipped that out to Sapunjas. I thought the ball went flying out of his hand.
That was a hook shot, Don. We've seen that. We've seen it in basketball. We haven't seen much of it in football. Is this guy fun to watch? Is he inventive? Sapunjas knew it was coming. It looks like a called play. He slip-blocked, then came out to the outside, and he's got blockers in front of him.
I thought the ball had come flying out of his hand. Instead, it went flying to Sapunjas, and Sapunjas picks up 5 yards. Pitts has another first down for Calgary. Chris Walby, who earned all-star recognition this year once again and has had a brilliant career with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, said that he really enjoys blocking for the run, but so far Winnipeg has not been able to run or pass. Calgary has basically been a passing team, and Derek Crawford has led the way. Calgary had 3 1,000-yard receivers this year. They may have 3 100-yard receivers in this game. Keevan Jenkins picks up a couple of yards on first down. He's stopped by Michael Gray.
You know, a big guy like Chris Walby, he's got to be just going through agony, because what he loves to do is get out there and block people, push them back, and let his running back carry the ball. He's standing here instead on the sidelines. We thought that would be Winnipeg's game plan, to possess the ball, control the football, not let Flutie have it. Flutie's had the ball all day.
And really, Winnipeg defenders haven't, with the exception of maybe one time, got close to Flutie. Penalty flag on the play as the ball is in and out of the hands of Alan Pitts. He was covered by Bobby Evans, and Vaughn Booker is the injured Winnipeg player.
Well, they're doing that crossing route. I believe the officials like to call offensive interference. Whenever you cross and you hit the defender, you've actually picked him off of the coverage, and that's not legal.
Third down. An interference call, and right now let's go to the sidelines, and here's Alvin.
Hi, Don. Well, we've just enjoyed the wonderful magic of Celine Dion. Celine, you're getting into this game. You've never performed here before.
No, it's my first time, not at the Sky Dome, but performing, singing at the Sky Dome. It is my first time. And actually, it is also my first time watching a live football game. And it's pretty exciting. I mean, there's a lot of things. The crowd is great. The action is great, 17-0. And Doug Flutie is looking good also. So everything goes wonderful. I'm very proud to be part.
Celine, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
John, back to you.
She's learned about football very quickly. Doug Flutie is wonderful today.
Another Flutie fan.
And Celine was wonderful at halftime and also at the big gala on Friday night. There's Vaughn Booker getting decked by Bruce Covington.
The tuna strikes.
Martino stands at his own 40-yard line for this third down punt. Penalty flag as Plummer is hauled down with 10:27 remaining. We'll sort it out for you when we return. Well, fans are afforded views of the football game from a variety of places at Sky Dome, not just the stands, but restaurants in the facilities as well. First and 10 Winnipeg, a no yards call against Calgary on the punt return, moves the ball out to the 38-yard line. Dunnigan on the option, and Dunnigan is hit by Pope and driven back.
Well, we talked about Marvin Pope coming into this game, and the Big Daddy's job was to stop the running game. How do you think he's done so far?
He's had a big day, as he has had since being activated for a game on October 4th against Ottawa. He's been a presence in the middle for the Calgary Stampeders. Second and 8 Winnipeg. The ball is at the 40-yard line. Dunnigan to Richardson, and he is surrounded, but it really didn't matter because he dropped the football. Matt Dunnigan, Winnipeg's starting quarterback. Danny McManus, who put together a winning string for Winnipeg, 4 consecutive triumphs. While Dunnigan was injured, standing beside him, Sammy Garza. He also won a football game this year while Dunnigan was hurt.
Well, you get the sense that Winnipeg is reluctant to give the ball to Richardson. And that's basically how they got here. That's how they got to the Grey Cup. They let Richardson carry the football 30, 35, 40 times a ball game.
Third down punt is mishandled by Crawford, but he was able to get the ball back. And they continue fighting for the football, but the official has already signaled Calgary ball. Calgary got a 37-yard first quarter field goal by Mark McLaughlin, followed by a single by McLaughlin on a missed field goal attempt from 52 yards. The only touchdown, Sapungis on a 35-yard pass from Flutie. And McLaughlin has added 2 more field goals, a 17-yarder. And before the half ended, he added another for a 17-0 lead. Alan Pitts is open. He's caught by Lorenzo Baker. That'll be a gain of 7.
Very difficult job for a guy like Lorenzo Baker to cover an excellent 1,000-yard receiver like Pitts, and it takes Lorenzo Baker out of the pass rush.
The only receiver in CFL history, as I mentioned earlier, to put together back-to-back seasons of 100 or more catches.
He was having trouble catching the ball early this year. They went to a highlight film and let him watch all his good plays, and it worked. He improved.
John Hufnagel spent some time with him, and it certainly paid dividends. And the Stampeders will get the first down, it appears. Chris?
Well, Don, Joe just mentioned the highlight film. Dr. Frank Lodato is the team psychologist. It was your idea to help Alan Pitts out of that funk he had at the halfway point of the season.
Well, it was also Hufnagel's. We put together a tape, 5 perfect receptions, had him look at it until he got sick of it, and then he came out and he caught a record number of passes after that. So he helped turn it around himself.
Well, you helped too. I just wonder why it never worked when you helped out Joe Gallant with the Montreal Concords as we go back upstairs.
Oh, nice hit. We couldn't vision it, I guess.
I think you needed a lot more help than that. Flutie's pass is complete to Pee Wee Smith, and he's forced out of bounds. Rod Hill and Greg Battle took care of Pee Wee Smith, but there was pressure coming up the middle as James West was attempting to put some heat on Doug Flutie.
You know, the psychologist, Dr. Frank Ladotta, he's helped out the LA Kings this year.
What an improvement they have had, although they were beaten last night by the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the Kings are in attendance at this afternoon's Grey Cup game. They have a day off today prior to heading to their next National Hockey League match on Tuesday against Chicago. The game will take place in Milwaukee. The draw play from the shotgun with Flutie. Flutie gets a first down before stepping out of bounds in front of Thomas.
Well, if I didn't see that, I wouldn't have believed it with my own eyes. Doug Flutie put on an unbelievable move back to the outside. And I've never seen Greg Battle miss in the open field like I saw him miss on this play. As Flutie sees Greg Battle, watch the way he accelerated to the outside. You don't make Greg Battle miss very often, and then he gets just enough for the first down. This guy is a technician.
1st and 10. The ball is at midfield, actually just across midfield on the Winnipeg side. Incomplete. It was intended for Bland. It will be 2nd and 10. Don Smith came up to defend against Bland. 6:50 is the time remaining in the third quarter.
Well, this pass was a little bit late, and that gave Donald Smith time to come right up through Bland. He played that perfectly. This would be important for Winnipeg to hold Calgary in this series and then get the ball back and get something on the scoreboard before this quarter runs out.
Again from the shotgun. Flutie with 4 receivers left. I'm not sure whether it was intended for Sapunjas, but he was having difficulty getting into his pattern. He had been bumped a couple of times coming off the line of scrimmage.
I think they're chucking the receivers. They're holding on to the receivers a little more defensively, and James West did a super job of rushing on Flutie. Probably the first time Flutie's been knocked down today.
2 sequences in a row. West has been able to come up the middle. He put pressure on Flutie both times. That time he took Flutie down. 17-0, the Stampeders lead. Plummer waits for the kick at the 15, fumbles it, gets it back. And he only returns it 3 yards before being stopped by Kenton Leonard. We'll be back after this. Matt Dunnigan from the 17, passes complete, but nowhere for Rob Creefo to go as Darrell Hall came up very quickly to defend against him. His name may be urban, but he has some rural roots, the coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Oh, he certainly does. He's talking about the time when he'll get that farm really up and going. He's only got chickens right now, but he's trying to get some livestock in.
He may be Gunton, Manitoba's best known citizen. A gain of 3 on the pass to Creefo. 2nd and 7. Dunnigan's in trouble. Harold Hasselback brings down the Winnipeg quarterback at the 10-yard line.
Fine football game being played by Harold Hasselback today.
The man who at times has spoken 7 different languages spoke sack.
And the University of Washington graduate just keeps working. Actually, Dunnigan's taken a little while to get that ball off, and that gave Harold Hasselback, the big Husky, a chance to get in there.
Talked about the number of different languages Hasselback has spoken during his lifetime. He said right now he's fluent in just 2, English and Dutch. Cameron punts from the end zone. Crawford looks for some blocking help. It doesn't materialize, and he's downed at the 46-yard line by James West. 4:56, the time remaining in the third quarter. Well, Flutie has certainly managed more passing yards than his Winnipeg counterpart Matt Dunnigan so far in the game, and that bodes well for Calgary's success this afternoon. 331 yards for Calgary, just 46 for Winnipeg.
And the amazing thing is the ease in which Flutie has done it. He hasn't really been hit all that often. Other than the play James West hit him on the last drive, I don't think he's been knocked down.
Von Booker was after him, and he had some help coming across the field as Dunnigan is knocked down. Dunnigan Flutie, I should say, just a little slow in getting up. Dunnigan on the sidelines has just not been able to get the Winnipeg offense on track as he and Mike Kelly go over some notes.
Well, we talked about Flutie not being knocked down. The incredible feel that he has for the pass rush prevented him from taking a heavy hit that time. He just took off running, and it saved his life.
He picked up a couple of yards again from the shotgun on 2nd and 8. He sends a 4th receiver out to the left. Alan Pitts has got it.
Alan Pitts has certainly gotten over the case of the drop balls he had earlier this year. This is not an easy catch. He knows that there's a man breathing right next to him, and he was able to pull that ball in and possess it. Good job of what they call turn back blocking. They block the lineman the opposite direction that Flutie runs.
Although Calgary has totally dominated the football game, they've only been able to put it in the end zone once. That was a 35-yard pass from Flutie to Sapunjas. Carl Bland has another first down inside the 20-yard line with 3:02 remaining in the third quarter. Donald Smith took the feet out from under Bland. 11 receptions for Bland last year in that losing cause against the Argos in Grey Cup 91.
And you see how Bland gets open. He starts back to the inside of the football field, and then knowing that unspoken communication with Flutie, he just breaks back to the outside, and the big tuna, Bruce Covington, does a good job of protecting.
Bland has caught 6 passes today for 85 yards. Flutie loses the snap in the pileup. Did Flutie get it back? They continue to push and shove. Referee Jake Ireland had indicated that Flutie fell on the football. Bruce Covington, the big tuna, he was runner-up for Rookie of the Year honors to Michael Richardson of Winnipeg. I think we're going to see this young man back at the awards ceremony, possibly as lineman of the year in the not-too-distant future.
Well, I think he's the new Chris Walby. I mean, he is a good football player. He's developed just here in his first year. And there's his supporters.
He's from Winnipeg. He went to Vincent Massey Collegiate, played football with St. Vital, also played junior hockey in Winnipeg. Flutie throws the pass for Alan Pitts, and he'll be short, it would appear, of a first down. Randolph was in pursuit of Flutie, and just as Randolph dove at him, Flutie threw the ball to Pitts.
Give Paul Randolph a lot of credit for covering a wide receiver. But Pitts does a good job of... Flutie was rushed, so Pitts had to pull that ball up off the ground.
Great battle came over the top of him right here.
Excellent catch, and then he...
What he was upset about.
Actually, he was flying there for a while. Is this guy a competitor? What does he want, 700 yards?
The way he's going, he may get it. McLaughlin hits the upright. Dead ball. So with 1:07 remaining in the third quarter, the score holds 17-0 Calgary. Mark McLaughlin, who attempted to add to Calgary's lead, hit the upright. McLaughlin has a tremendous success rate from inside the 30-yard line. During his CFL career, 105 attempts from inside the 30-yard line, and McLaughlin has only missed 10 of them. He can't believe that he hit the upright with what would have been his 4th field goal of the afternoon. Penalty flag on the play as the pass was intended for Richardson. Matt Finlay had dropped off in coverage. A procedure call against Winnipeg.
Procedure. Winnipeg number 51. Decline. Second down.
Guard David Black was guilty of the procedure call. And the penalty is declined by the Stampeders with 46 seconds remaining. It's 2nd and 10 from the 25. Incomplete. He was attempting to set up a screen for Warren Hudson. Well, the Winnipeg fans have made the trip to Sky Dome. Haven't had a great deal to cheer about thus far, but they are still optimistic, as I'm sure are the fans back at the Winnipeg Arena who are watching the game on the big screen. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers put together a string at the end of the year, 5 consecutive victories to finish in first place. They completely dominated Hamilton in the Eastern Final, winning 59-11 to make it 6 in a row. But win number 7 in succession is going to be much more difficult to come by. Bob Cameron's 3rd down punt taken by Pee Wee Smith, and he is forced out of bounds at midfield. Alfie?
Don, I'm with Argo owner Bruce McNall. Bruce, any regrets with the ownership of this club?
No, not really. You know, I came in and thought I would try to do something for the city of Toronto and for Canada to keep the CFL going, and I think from what we've seen so far, the people seem to really enjoy it, and I'm happy for it. I think in the long run it'll work out very well in the long run. Short run is tough, but long run I think it'll be okay.
Bruce, quickly, can you confirm whether the rights will go over to Calgary next year?
Really, we haven't got anything confirmed. My attitude has been, from my standpoint, I'd probably prefer to keep it here. Larry is a good friend and has made an important plea to try to bring him to Calgary, and I'll listen.
Thanks for your time, Bruce. Don?
Larry Rickman would certainly love to obtain the rights to the Grey Cup game in 1993 for Calgary. The pass complete to Alan Pitts, and that should be the final play, and is, of the 3rd quarter. 17-0. Calgary leads Winnipeg.
Here's to the everyday things that end up being everything. Here's to all things simple, with casual clothing and footwear from Marks.
Welcome back to Grey Cup 92 from Sky Dome in Toronto. The Calgary Stampeders 15 minutes away from putting their hands on that cherished trophy for the first time since 1971. They have the football, 1st and 10 at the 42. When Winnipeg gets the ball back, Danny McManus might very well replace Matt Dunnigan as the Winnipeg quarterback.
And when you do that, Don, it picks up the other team. I think what happens on your offensive unit, you get a new quarterback in there, they say, hey, maybe this guy's the answer. So Calgary's got to get a score.
Flutie for Alan Pitts. He makes the catch, out of bounds. That's the 2nd time he has been taken out of bounds after making a reception. He is claiming that he was forced out by Darrell Sampson, but the official does not concur. And now he's explaining to Wally Buono why he made the call.
Wally Buono's got a lot of years as a player, and he knows it's great to rack up yardage, but if you don't get the points, if you don't knock out the opponent, they can come back and get you.
Wally Buono has participated in 6 previous Grey Cup games. He twice has been on the winning team as a player in 74 and 77. This is his 2nd time as a coach, and he'll be delighted with what he sees from Carl Bland making the catch for a 1st down at the 27-yard line.
I don't think Wally Buono will be delighted until he gets at least 10 more points.
7 for 100 for Bland now.
The Stampeders now have 2 100-yard receivers in the game. Derek Crawford, who made the big receptions in the first half, and now Carl Bland, who has 7 catches for 100 yards.
What a great decision to go with the 5 receivers. That's the fellas that have been playing hard for Calgary. They went with all 5 of them in this game.
Rod Hill playing with a broken bone in his left foot. Handoff to Keevan Jenkins. He spins off 1 tackle and then is brought down at the 23-yard line. 13:26 the time remaining in the game. Look at those numbers, all in favor of Calgary.
Well, I guess you have to say Winnipeg had a bend but don't break defense. They've only given up 1 touchdown, and look at 409 yards net.
Winnipeg's problem has been that they haven't been able to generate any offense. On 1st and 10, Flutie flips it out to Sapunjas. And Sapunjas dives to the 15. Close to yet another Calgary first down.
And Rod Hill, we know that he's been hobbled with that foot injury, and look what's happening here. His own teammate came over and got a piece of it. Those things are so tender, you don't want anybody to touch it. And that's a gutsy performance by Hill, but look at the good job by Sapunjas. This guy's developed into a premier receiver.
He has scored the game's only touchdown. 1st and 10. Flutie out of the shotgun for Pitts. Touchdown. Sampson earlier knocked Pitts out of bounds when he thought he had made a catch. Pitts was working against Sampson, and Ditzy makes the dash down the sidelines to celebrate this catch by Pitts for a 23-0 Calgary lead.
And Pitts does that post corner route. Sampson on the coverage, but that was a perfectly thrown ball and a perfect catch at the only place you can catch it, right on the sideline.
Pitts has now caught 7 passes for 77 yards and a touchdown. We'll be back with the Calgary kickoff after this.
Well, it's the Doug Flutie show here at the Sky Dome. Here is his father, Richard Flutie, and I saw some tears of joy after that touchdown.
Boy, you're not kidding. I was glad to see that. Great throw, great catch.
But you did have some advice for him.
It ain't over till it's over.
Well, it looks like he's got it in complete control as we go back upstairs to Don.
Chris, since 1969, the player named the outstanding performer in the CFL has not added to that trophy by winning the Grey Cup. That may be about to change this year.
And don't you know, they were thinking about that whole 3rd quarter. No touchdown, field goal bouncing off the goalpost. Things were looking a little bit glim and gloomy for the Stampeders, but that was a great throw. They took the ball over in good field position and did something with it.
Stampeders this year established a club record with 607 points. Plummer trying to move down the sidelines. He's bounced out of bounds by Alondra Johnson. A 55-yard kick and a 13-yard return. Doug Flutie this year established 11 Calgary club records.
You saw Doug had to make an adjustment to get that ball from the center, but he got one-on-one with Sampson, and Pitts did the rest.
.18 is the time remaining, and we've got a quarterbacking change as we anticipated when we saw Danny McManus warming up. McManus for Alphen, incomplete. Matt Dunnigan had a stretch this year where he missed 6 games. He missed 2, then came back to play against the Edmonton Eskimos on October 2nd, then missed 4 in a row before returning for the final game of the year. During his absence, Danny McManus was most effective at the controls of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Rob Crefo makes the catch, or does he? No. The official on the other side of the field comes over to claim that he did not catch the ball.
Well, Rob Grifo is an easy target for Danny McManus to find. He's 6'6". That looked like a catch to me. Good job by Chris Walby keeping Will Johnson out of the play. How the fans are reacting to the play on the Jumbotron. They knew that Grifo had the catch, and so does Rob.
However, the official overruled any argument that Grifo was able to present, and Crawford is tripped up by James West.
Here's a guy, James West. He's in his 30s. He's covering wide receivers. He's going down and making tackles on kickoffs and punts. This guy's a real competitor. Look at Matt Dunnigan. You know he's not very happy about not being in there.
Scott?
Well, Don, it's a salvage operation for Danny McManus now, and he will not be able to save it. The great concern about Matt Dunnigan all week long was that he was perhaps ready too early to play this game on Wednesday. Didn't smile all week long. They were worried he was wound up too tight. Did the worst happen today? Perhaps. But this surely was not the kind of game Matt Dunnigan visualized.
Doug Flutie was definitely the more relaxed of the two quarterbacks during the week. And he has certainly been the more relaxed and the more productive this afternoon at Skydome. 416 passing yards. Kent Austin had 474 in that thrilling 43-40 win in 1989, the CFL record.
Doug Flutie said last week it was the most exciting win for him in his career because it was as a pro. I wonder what he'll say about his performance this week.
Flutie has a history of being able to pull them out in the dying moments. In this game, he has had his team in front all the way, and he fires another strike to Carl Bland.
See the frustration on a James West having to cover wide receivers. That's not easy for a linebacker. Little push off. I think Smith might have room to complain, and then of course West coming off his coverage, coming over, he was complaining too.
1st and 10 Calgary. The ball is at the 51. Just prior to the game, I was talking to Urban Bowman, and he said, I just hope it isn't a blowout. Well, his worst fears may be realized today. Whoa, oh no, he can't hang on, and he is claiming that when he came down, the ground forced the ball out of his hands, but Pee Wee Smith's complaints fall upon deaf ears.
Well, Pee Wee Smith being covered by Donald Smith. Donald Smith didn't give up. Look right here. The ground can't make you fumble down.
But I guess the official decided that he did not have full control of the football when he came down. Pee Wee obviously does not agree.
Yeah, he actually pulled the ball in and felt that that would constitute control.
2nd and 10. Pitts. Penalty flag on the play. Pitts. And Andrew Thomas can't get him.
It's defensive interference. That is a touchdown.
Pitts with his 2nd touchdown of the game. He looks back just to make certain that the penalty call is against, well, it apparently is going against Calgary.
Well, then it wasn't on Pitts or on his receiver that side.
Ineligible receiver. Calgary number 18. Repeat 2nd down.
Pitts determined by the officials to be an ineligible receiver on the play.
Alan Pitts cannot be on the line of scrimmage. And that's what the official ruled, that he was up on the line of scrimmage. He's got to be a yard behind the line of scrimmage. And that's one of those things where they try to motion. You see them now. They're trying to motion up on the line of scrimmage. He ruled it, and he was over.
Bobby Evans was coming on a blitz, and he was picked up. Keevan Jenkins did an excellent job of getting back to pick up Bobby Evans coming on the blitz. And the sideline pattern takes the ball up to the Winnipeg 52-yard line. Derek Crawford on the receiving end.
Excellent job by Crawford making the break. But Flutie knows the value of having a running back pick up that blitz. Watch him come over. Boom. He gets him off. And then Doug Flutie comes running back over and says, Kevan, good job. You saved my life, son.
8:35 remaining. 24-0. The Stampeders lead Winnipeg. In case you're wondering, Winnipeg was also involved the last time a team was shut out in a Grey Cup game. In 1950, the Bombers lost to the Toronto Argonauts. The ball bounces back towards the line of scrimmage. It's picked up by Djokovic. There are penalty flags on the play. We'll sort it out for you when we return. You know, people talk this year about the number of points that the Stampeders scored, a record 607. They did a pretty good job defensively. They only allowed 430 points, down 122 from a year ago. Great sideline catch by Frank Pillow. Diving for the throw from Danny McManus.
Well, that's the value of Danny McManus. You can see that the Winnipeg Arena, they're starting to get some new life because McManus is a passing quarterback. He comes from a passing university, Florida State. He just played Carl Anthony perfectly. After the hit, he stayed with it. And that's a perfectly thrown football.
Winnipeg's longest gain of the day, 42 yards. Pillow missed 8 games this season as the result of an injury, but he does have speed. Grifo was the intended receiver. Kenton Leonard should have had an interception.
That was a perfectly thrown pass too, but it was to the wrong team. Kenton Leonard right in the path of that football.
Leonard, a diabetic who works very hard on behalf of the Canadian Diabetes Association.
Well, sometimes it hits the pads and then it just rebounds out of there before you can get possession of it. That's what happened.
And Leonard has worked very hard in this afternoon's football game. Calgary's secondary has done an excellent job of covering Winnipeg receivers. Way over the head of Grifo, Kenton Leonard back defending again. Danny McManus replacing starting quarterback Matt Dunnigan. Winnipeg this year has had problems generating offense. In a 5-game stretch, games 9 through 13, they had less than 300 yards. 9 times this year, they had games where they produced less than 300 yards offense.
The thing that kept Winnipeg alive was their defense, their aggressive linebackers, and that always kept them in ball games. Even when their offense was sputtering, they knew that their defense could create something.
Troy Westwood's field goal attempt is good. So the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will not be shut out as Westwood puts them on the board with 6:37 remaining. Winnipeg football fans watching the game at the arena on the big screen have seen their heroes come from behind before, but time is the big enemy now. Just 6:37 remaining in the game. 24-3 the score. Westwood with a 46-yard field goal. He missed his first attempt, a 52-yard try. His second field goal attempt was blocked by Marvin Pope. That was a 38-yard effort. 1st and 10.
He had one blocked by the goalpost.
On the sidelines, Derek Crawford adds to Doug Flutie's passing total and his own reception total to the midfield stripe. 1st and 10 Calgary.
And Doug Flutie moved the pocket once again. He moved out to the side, and that gave him enough time for Crawford to get away from that holding that Rod Hill's doing. There's the rookie, Covington, doing a good job on Booker.
Rookie against rookie. Covington against Booker, and the Calgary tackle won that one. Penalty flags as the Calgary offensive line seemed to move prior to the ball being snapped.
Procedure, Calgary number 64, still first step.
I think everybody had the correct snap. except the center. And he didn't snap the ball when everyone else moved. So Doug Davies is going to have to get that ball back a little sooner.
5:44 remaining in the game. 1st and 15 now, Calgary. The Stampeders are at their own 50-yard line. A low throw. It was intended for Bland, and Rod Hill was over defending against him. 469 yards now for Doug Flutie. And he's also been able to run for 19.
And he was on a business trip today. That's what Wally Buono said. Men, we're going down to Toronto, and we've got a job to do, and that's the job.
If this trophy heads to Calgary, it will only be the 3rd time in the franchise's history that the Stampeders have won. This is their 7th Grey Cup appearance. Now there's a whistle and a flag on the play, and the sideline official came running onto the field just as the ball was snapped, and the play was wiped out, even though Flutie did throw the ball.
Procedure, Calgary number 18, still 2nd down.
Well, there it is again. They're trying to, Wally's upset, you know that. They're trying to beat the snap count. In other words, Pitts, the slot back, Crawford's playing some slot back. They run towards the line of scrimmage, and if they go to the line of scrimmage, not beyond it, just to the line of scrimmage, that constitutes an ineligible receiver. Too many ends is what happens.
2nd and 20 with 4:49 remaining. Keevan Jenkins gets about 4 of them. The ball comes loose. Winnipeg claim they've got it, and Jake Ireland agrees.
Well, that's what their defense has done all year, is come up with some big plays. This may be a little too late, but that's a big play right now. Solid tackle by Von Booker.
And Michael Gray comes up with the football. Michael Gray was the man who made a big interception off Matt Dunnigan in a 1988 Grey Cup game you remember so well, Joe.
I've tried to forget it. That 1-point game.
It was that play that preserved Winnipeg's 1988 Grey Cup triumph, just when it appeared as though the BC Lions were driving in for a game-winning touchdown. McManus for Creefo. It's intercepted by Alondra Johnson. Michael Richardson came over to make the tackle. Calgary fumbles, and Urban Bowman sees his team give it right back on the interception by Alondra Johnson. Johnson, for a linebacker, had dropped a long way back.
He certainly was back there deep, but you can't fault Denny McManus. He threaded the needle, put the ball right in there, and Creefo, in trying to gain possession of it, just tipped it up in the air, and Alondra Johnson with that deep drop. And that's one of the things Wally Buono likes in his linebackers, that deep drop that really helps them in their zone coverage. And look at A.J. Johnson. I think he's content right about this time just to go down, take a rest.
I think he's a prototypical CFL linebacker. He can run, and there's a penalty flag on the play, as we saw there. Holding call, and of course there's no need for that penalty as far as Calgary is concerned, because Johnson came up with the interception.
But you know, they put Stu Laird in the ballgame because they thought he could work Miles Burrell better than Tim Cofield.
Flutie overthrew Alan Pitts on the sidelines. Flutie was getting some pressure from Paul Randolph, but he hasn't been on the artificial turf at Sky Dome very often this afternoon.
Look, and he's got a clean jersey. That's only the second knockdown that Flutie's had. And Paul Randolph was virtually unblocked, came all the way around Keevan Jenkins.
3:41 with the clock running, the time remaining in the ball game, and the expression on the faces of the Winnipeg ball players sitting on the bench pretty much sums up what has taken place this afternoon, or this evening, I should say. Pee Wee Smith could not hang on to the sidearm delivery from Doug Flutie. 3:18 is the time remaining. Chris?
Well, Don, here's the happy owner, Larry Rickman. How do you like your $1 million man right now?
I love him. I love the team, and I'm just thrilled for the city of Calgary. It looks like we're going to do it, and I just like to thank all our fans back home for all the support that they gave us this year.
You're 3:18 from taking the Grey Cup back. Are you going to bring the Grey Cup game back to Calgary next year?
We're going to do everything we can because we can put on the best show in the country.
Larry, congratulations.
Thank you.
Larry Rickman now back upstairs.
The third time that the Calgary Stampeders, as I mentioned earlier, will claim the Grey Cup. Their first was 48, their second in 1971. Since they last won a Grey Cup, even Montreal has won a Grey Cup. A couple of them, as a matter of fact, and they're no longer in the league. 3:03 remains. We can now inform you that for the second year, Dave Sapunjas has been named the outstanding Canadian in the Grey Cup game. And Doug Flutie has been named, not surprisingly, to the 45,000 plus who have watched the game here at Sky Dome, and those watching on CBC television, the game's outstanding performer. McManus for Alphen, and Alphen is hauled down by Greg Peterson at the 27.
Well, that's excellent touch by Danny McManus. You've got to admire his attitude. Whether he was a starter, whether he was a backup, he continued to put out a good effort, and this is a nice play.
Danny McManus was the quarterback of record in a 4-game win streak. The 5th consecutive win by the Bombers saw Matt Dunnigan start at quarterback. Fair bit of debate in Winnipeg as to whether it should be Dunnigan or McManus as the starting quarterback, but Urban Bowman insisted that Dunnigan was his #1 man. McManus tried to deliver the football to Alphen. It will be 2nd and 10.
Danny McManus has that look of a passer. He's got the ability to throw a bullet when you need to. He also has the touch on the ball to sort of drop it in. He's not known for his running ability, but he has excellent touch on the ball, and that was a great come-from-behind victory over the Argos, and Danny McManus was a big part of it.
Winnipeg Blue Bombers were hoping today that they would be rewarded with their 11th Grey Cup triumph. But that is not to be with only 2:37 remaining. They got a touchdown. Gerald Alphen on the receiving end of the throw from Danny McManus. 2:31 is the time left.
Well, let's not celebrate too soon. And of course, the key to that was that he threw to his primary receiver, the one that everyone knew he would be throwing to, and he executed the play properly. And hey, there's life in Winnipeg.
You know, as I mentioned, there was great debate in Winnipeg among the football fans as to who Urban Bowman should start in the final regular season game against Ottawa, McManus or Dunnigan. And I'm sure tomorrow and for the next few days, the debate will continue whether McManus should have replaced Dunnigan earlier in this football game.
Well, I thought they'd do the replacing, if anything, at halftime, but I believe what happened was Bowman got together with Mike Kelly, and they probably said, look, let's execute the game plan that we have down. Here's Gerald Alphen. He makes a bend in, and there's nothing fancy about it, but he caught them in zone coverage, and Danny McManus executed it properly. Not much pressure on McManus, so he put the ball right where he knew his primary receiver would be.
24-10 is the score.
And I don't believe we'll see an onside kick. I think what they'll do is kick it deep, use their timeout properly, and try to get that football back.
Gerald Alphen initially started with Montreal, spent 3 years with Ottawa, 3 years when he was a 1,000-yard receiver for the Rough Riders before heading south to the National Football League and coming from the New Orleans Saints to Winnipeg in September of this year. But unless there's a miracle finish, the Grey Cup this year is headed to Calgary. 2:31 the time remaining.
Calgary's got their hands team, all their defenders with good hands.
Westwood kicks it along the turf, and it's taken by Crawford, and he is hauled down by Plummer back at the 30-yard line with 2:27 remaining in the game.
Good strategy on the part of Winnipeg, because Calgary, expecting the onside kick, had all of their receiver types, their backs, defensive backs, what they call their hands team up to try to catch that short kick. They drove it deep, and they're in great field position. If they can hold, they'll get the ball back near midfield.
Winnipeg right now desperately requires 2 and out for the Calgary Stampeders.
And they'll probably use their timeout if they hold them to short yardage on that first down.
James West, who has been moving all over the place, trying to confuse Flutie this afternoon. Lines up outside, comes back into the middle. Flutie rolls to his left. He dumps it off to Sapunjas. He's got a first down.
Who did you say the outstanding player was and the outstanding Canadian?
Well, the 2 recipients of the game awards combined for a very important first down for the Stampeders with now 2:20 remaining in the game.
This is just patented Doug Flutie. What he did is he came back out on a bootleg, and look at Sapunjas. This guy never gives up when he runs a pass route.
That's something Sapunjas does so well when Flutie rolls out. He comes across to get into his vision.
They got a great feel. There's that unspoken communication between that receiver and that quarterback.
And now the Stampeders will try and take some time off the clock by running the football. 1:56 remains. Keevan Jenkins was stopped at the line of scrimmage after a pickup of maybe about a yard and driven back. Matt Dunnigan has been to the Grey Cup with Edmonton, with BC, with Toronto. He won it last year, but this year he'll be heading home empty-handed, it looks like, with 1:46 remaining. And an anxious Larry Rickman now glances up at the clock. Flutie goes down back at the 38-yard line with 1:31 remaining. That time his receivers were covered, and so he wisely went down rather than try and throw it up and risk the possibility of an interception.
And Winnipeg used their only timeout, so that means that they will have to punt. Calgary will have to punt the football. Winnipeg will get it back with 1 minute and 30 seconds, approximately 1 minute 30 seconds. So Urban Bowman now, they're working on their hurry-up offense. They'll probably call the plays from the line of scrimmage. Wally Bawano was telling us that he thought about Normie Kwong this week. Normie Kwong was a fellow that went through a lot of pains when Calgary was having their trouble as a franchise, and Normie Kwong hired Wally Bawano.
Plummer is back for Martino's 3rd down punt. Winnipeg trying to get some pressure on Martino. He gets the kick away. Penalty flag in the play. Plummer loses the football when Brewster makes the tackle. But there was a penalty flag on the play. Is it a no yards call against Calgary?
Yep.
I think it was in tight. 4 yards. He was 4 yards instead of 5.
1:16 remaining. The last time the Stampeders won the Grey Cup, 1971, when Leon McQuay fumbled when it appeared as though the Toronto Argonauts were driving in for a touchdown. And Leo Cahill, the coach of the Argos in that 1971 season, still maintains that the ball should not have been turned over, that the ground cannot make you fumble.
All the classic pictures you see, I think the classic picture I'll see when I think of Doug Flutie is shoeless Doug Flutie scoring that touchdown that got them through the Western Final.
He put together that late 77-yard touchdown drive. McManus throws incomplete. It was intended for Alphen, but McManus was under pressure. Hasselback and Will Johnson were both pursuing the Winnipeg quarterback. 1:07 is the time remaining.
Is he smiling? I mean, I would never smile if Will Johnson were chasing me around a football field.
McManus was the quarterback when the Bombers defeated Calgary 17-16 at Winnipeg Stadium on September 27th. Winnipeg's passing attack was pretty much held in check that day as well. They only completed 4 passes. This pass is complete for a first down, and Gerald Alphen is on the receiving end again with 1:01 remaining. First down, Winnipeg. The ball is at the Calgary 48.
Well, Calgary's changed their defensive front entirely. They're just rushing 3 people and dropping 9 back into coverage. McManus seems to be able to exploit that.
Rob Creeful should have another first down depending on the spot.
Well, Mike Kelly, I know, is telling him, you got to put one in the end zone. We got to get the quick score, so then we'll have an opportunity to do the onside kick.
The ball is spotted at the 38. First and 10, Winnipeg. 53 seconds the time remaining. Calgary leading by 14. McManus looking to the end zone for Larry Thompson. Knocked away. Kenton Leonard was back to deflect the pass intended for Larry Thompson.
And Kenton Leonard did exactly what you should do. He got up and got the ball at its high point. You got to get up above the receiver. Take it up at the high point. That way he doesn't have a chance for it.
Do you think the Stampeders were ready for an end zone throw by McManus? Carl Anthony and Leonard were both on Thompson, and safety Greg Peterson had moved over as well.
Well, they've got 9 people dropping back deep. Don Southern, he's giving him the word. Don't let him have the big play.
38 seconds remaining. An extra defensive back is in there for Calgary. Complete to Alphen on the hit from Johnson. He loses his helmet but manages to hang on to the football. However, he's short of the first down.
Alondra Johnson looks like Mike Tyson, and he hits like Mike Tyson. That's about the 3rd good hit that he's had today.
Well, people over the years have described Winnipeg's defense as physical, relentless, tenacious. I think those adjectives might be applied to Calgary's defense today.
Well, Wally Buono was talking to us, and he had that determination in his eye, and he said, hey, listen, don't say Winnipeg is a physical team until you look at our defensive team.
Winnipeg anxious to get the play underway. They had snapped the football before time had been whistled in by referee Jake Ireland.
Wally coaches just like he played. He makes sure that he's got everybody totally prepared. He stays very intense, and he's always one play ahead of things.
Winnipeg has a first down with 32 seconds remaining as Alphen makes another catch.
There's the defensive coaches, Tom Higgins and Don Southern. They're signaling 4 deep.
And for Don Southern, the man in the red shirt, this is his 14th Grey Cup game. Larry Thompson is the receiver in the end zone McManus was attempting to go to. He was being covered by Junior Thurman.
Covered?
Knocked down by Junior Thurman.
He was being waltzed around by, I don't know who was pushing who or who was dancing. I think they're doing a Texas two-step here or something. That's a lot of contact before the ball's thrown.
24 seconds remaining.
Don Southern's pointing 4. He's got those 4 fingers up, and he wants people back there 4 deep. Don't give them anything easy.
The only time Sudsy has been on the winning side as a coach was 1987. 14 Grey Cup appearances, a remarkable achievement. Carl Anthony knocked it away from Frank Pillow. And now, with 19 seconds remaining, it's 3rd and 10.
And what a job Urban Bowman did this year to get this team into the Grey Cup. When they were 6 and 7, there wasn't a lot of people that would have taken stock. I think their stocks were low.
Prior to this afternoon, the last team to beat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the Edmonton Eskimos, 45-25 on the 2nd of October. Pillow can't hang on. He was being covered again by Carl Anthony, and with 13 seconds remaining, that will make it official. Larry Rickman can now smile His investment in Doug Flutie has paid the dividends he hoped it would when he acquired him from the BC Lions. The Calgary Stampeders, for only the third time in the franchise's history, are Grey Cup champions. And they will be returning home tomorrow on Canadian Airlines Flight 961, arriving in Calgary at 10:50 in the morning. Doug Flutie, in only one Grey Cup game, with his performance today, has moved into second place in number of completions, number of attempts, and yards in a Grey Cup game.
And he certainly has entertained us and the crowd.
Flutie takes a knee, taking the clock down to 11 seconds. And now he'll have no difficulty in taking the final 11 seconds off the clock. (24-10). The Calgary Stampeders will win this Grey Cup game thanks to a textbook performance by quarterback Doug Flutie, the outstanding player in the Canadian Football League for 1992 and 1991. And this year, the outstanding player in a Grey Cup game in which he totally dominated.
You've got to give Doug Flutie all kinds of credit. This is not a guy who has been with this football team for 3 years. This was his first year with the Calgary Stampeders.
24-10. Calgary wins the Grey Cup. Here's Scott.
All right, Don, I'm with the hero of this game, Doug Flutie. Your professional football dream has come true north of the border. Does Canada feel like home now?
Oh, yeah, it is home. It's been home for 3 years, and I plan to make it my home the rest of my career.
Doug, tell me about the game plan. Did you think it could possibly work as well as it did? The quick drop, the quick release.
We really felt we could throw the ball. We knew our receivers could beat them. It was a matter of picking people up. Early in the game, we weren't doing a good job protection-wise, but I was getting rid of the ball quick enough that it was making it happen. And, you know, we had great execution, receiver, quarterback execution.
You were full value for this victory. Go and enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's join Chris Cuthbert.
All right, I'm with the winning coach, Wally Buono. Some thoughts on your quarterback who just spent some time with Scott Oak?
Well, our quarterback did a good job, but I also want to take time to thank my Lord Jesus Christ. He's helped me all year long, and he's been with this team for a long time.
Well, I know a great linebacker in the past. You have to be very proud of your defensive team today, too.
Again, our defense was primed. Again, they knew what their job was, and they did a great job. But again, our offense showed them why they're a great offense. They got great receivers. Doug's a great quarterback, and like I say, there's no knock against Doug anymore.
Does this feel as good as when you won it as a player?
Well, as a player, I don't think you realize all the work it takes to get here. It feels good as a player, but I think as a coach, you're much more satisfying and much more gratifying.
Wally, congratulations. What a great job you've done in 3 years in Calgary.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to say hi to all my kids. I know they're back home, and God bless you guys.
Wally Buono, general manager and coach of the Stampeders, as we head upstairs to Don and Joe.
Chris, the Calgary Stampeders have been a team on a mission ever since their 36-21 loss to the Toronto Argonauts a year ago in Winnipeg. And it's mission accomplished this afternoon at Sky Dome in Toronto. Wally Buono has the best winning percentage of any coach in Calgary Stampeder history. He now has a 36-18-1 record. The bleacher creature who is in attendance at all Calgary games on the field to help celebrate this Stampeder win. And the team will be returning home with the Grey Cup tomorrow, arriving at Calgary's International Airport at 10:50. The team was all business in preparations this week for the 1992 Grey Cup game, and it was apparent from the outset that they were well prepared by that man, head coach Wally Buono. 24-10. Calgary defeats Winnipeg in Grey Cup 92, and we'll be back with the presentation of that cherished trophy in just a moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to center field for the presentation of the Grey Cup. Once again, here is the CFL Commissioner Larry Smith. Mesdames et messieurs, dirigeons notre attention au centre du terrain pour la présentation officielle de la Coupe Grey. Avec en cours, fois le commissaire de la Ligue canadienne, Larry Smith.
the presentation of the Grey Cup by Commissioner Larry Smith to the Calgary Stampeders. Most members of the team are assembled on the platform at center field, along with members of the coaching staff and owner Larry Rickman. And I think one of the problems appears to be a microphone to be delivered by the staff at Skydome. Some of the players are savoring this moment still at the Calgary bench. Others have climbed up on the platform. Marvin Pope, who was added to the lineup to defend against the run, certainly did his job today, as he has done since being activated by the Stampeders on October the 4th.
Well, those linebackers, I think you'd have to admit that Matt Fenley, Alondra Johnson, and then, of course, anchored in the middle by the big guy, Marvin Pope, they did a whale of a job today.
Well, one of the big things during the course of the season is that the Stampeders yielded just 430 points, a dramatic improvement from a year ago when they gave up 552. That works out over an 18-game season to almost a touchdown per game better defensively.
And I think it was more strategy than it was personnel, because they had virtually the same people playing in that defensive secondary and the up front. But they seem to be content this year. Rush 4, play more zone coverage, mix it a little bit. Urban Bowman paid them a perfect compliment by saying that they adjusted better than any defense in the CFL.
Well, they had everything going for them offensively under the direction of Doug Flutie. For the first time in Stampeder history, 3 1,000-yard receivers. And Flutie, for a second consecutive year, over 5,000 passing yards. Let's go to field level.
Hello, everybody. I'd like to congratulate the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for a great game and a great season. And I'd like to congratulate Larry Rickman, the owner of the Calgary Stampeders, and my old buddy, number 39, Wally Wallow from the Montreal Let's Touch the Calgary Stampeders! 1992 Grey Cup champions! Yeah! Good job, guys! Yeah! All right! Woo! Woo! Mentioned earlier, since 1971, when Calgary last won a Grey Cup, every other team in the CFL has been able to do what Stampeder players are now enjoying, holding the Grey Cup high. Even Montreal, who might be back in the CFL next year, did it on 2 occasions. But for the Calgary Stampeders, they are savoring the moment. Their 3rd Grey Cup triumph in franchise history.
And you know, Don, they say it takes approximately 3,000 hours to prepare for a football season. The practices, the film study, and now they got the Grey Cup. They've got what they've been thinking about for 12 months. Ever since the Rocket returned that kick, this is what their goal was. And they were very focused. Wally Buono deserves a great deal of credit. They went on a business trip. They came back with what they went out to settle.
Last year, Calgary won the statistical battle but lost the game to the Toronto Argonauts. And 25 of the players who were on the field at Winnipeg Stadium in that defeat to Toronto are back at Skydome to enjoy the moment. A 1992 Grey Cup win, 24-10 over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. McVeigh proudly carries the Grey Cup over to the sidelines and holds it high as Doug Flutie, among others, heads to the dressing room. The outstanding player of the game
and the outstanding Canadian player of the game, Dave Sapunjas. It may take a while before some of the players who are certainly enjoying this win head to the dressing room with the Grey Cup.
Well, they all want to savor that victory, and knowing that long look, distraught look that they had on their faces last year in a game that they actually outplayed the Argos, but they didn't get enough points. They made up for it today.
Coming into the game, most of the discussion revolved around Flutie's passing ability and Winnipeg's defense. Flutie continued to pass and play well, but people overlooked Calgary's defense.
Calgary's defense did a whale of a job, and you know, I can't remember how many times Flutie was knocked down, but I would say 3 would be a conservative, or I mean would be a generous number, because they just never got to Doug Flutie. He was so good at avoiding the rush when there was one, or throwing a football when there wasn't a rush.
A last-second victory a week ago in the Western Final, 23-22 over the Edmonton Eskimos, but control from the outset in the Grey Cup game in a 24-10 triumph over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Doug Flutie was magnificent at Skydome today, and as a result, this final score, 24-10, gives the Calgary Stampeders their 3rd Grey Cup. There's the scene in the Calgary locker room. We're waiting to go down there to hear from the principals in this victory, but the players are waiting to hear from their head coach and general manager, Wally Buono, first. As soon as they do, we'll be able to join Chris Cuthbert in the Calgary room. But in our press box position here at Skydome, I'm joined by our game day analysts, Kent Austin and Ron Lancaster. And Ron, I guess you'd simply say this was Doug Flutie's day.
Well, I'll tell you, the score flattered Winnipeg a little bit. I think that Calgary missed some opportunities to really put it away early. But I think basically the Calgary defense proved right now why they are the best defense in this league, and they have been, and they went very unnoticed this week.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk coming into this game about Doug Flutie and how he might shine, which in fact he did. We perhaps overlooked the Calgary defense, which surrendered the fewest number of points in the league this year, Kent.
Yeah, they did. They were also the best defense against the pass in the league this year. So all they had to do really was stop the run. They knew that they'd play well in the secondary, and that's exactly what they did.
We talked about adjustments at halftime, and would the Winnipeg Blue Bombers make any? Surely they must have tried, but it didn't look like it.
I didn't see any adjustments at halftime. They continued to give Calgary the matchups on offense, putting their linebackers in coverage against Pitts and Sapunjas, and Calgary continued to exploit it. The one thing they did do at halftime is made sure that their free safety Thomas didn't get in coverage, which hurt them early on in the game.
Ron, there's going to be a question that'll be debated hot and long in Winnipeg in the coming week, and that is, why wasn't Danny McManus in the game earlier? As a coach, what would you say?
I'll tell you, you know, you always have to go with the guy that's been your leader, you know, and Dunnigan's the leader. I guess if you really want to second guess and all that stuff, maybe put him in a little bit early in the second quarter and let Matt get going in the third. But hey, you got to go with the guy that you think can win the football game for you. You heard the players talk all week about how Matt was the leader of the Bombers. When you're the leader, let him lead, and it just didn't get done today. And then when they did go to McManus, I think Calgary was expecting, you know, they had the game under control. They sat back a little bit, but you know, that's just the way you pay your money and take your chances.
Were these fans hungry for a Grey Cup? Obviously, the Calgary fans whooping it up here at Skydome. Maybe we shouldn't talk so much about what Winnipeg did wrong. It was more a case, perhaps, of what Calgary did right. Credit them, Kent, with a brilliant game plan.
Oh, absolutely. They got the matchups that they wanted to offensively. Doug was right on top of his game. He was very accurate with his passes and continued to run the offense flawlessly like he's done all year.
Team prayer now in the Calgary locker room. They're savoring this victory. As soon as that piece of business is taken care of, we should be able to go down there and hear from them. There's Cal Murphy. Comeback story of this season, to be sure. Heart transplant surgery in July. He was here to watch his team play today. Didn't get the result he wanted, but vows to be back on the job next season. All right, Chris Cuthbert is all set now in the Calgary locker room.
All right, Scott, thanks very much. We're here to present the Outstanding Player Award, the Chrysler Canada Outstanding Player Award, and to do the honors, here's the President and Chief Executive Officer of Chrysler Canada, Yves Landry.
Well, on behalf of Chrysler Canada, congratulations on a great team effort, an individual effort that was absolutely fantastic. We're like a surgeon out there dissecting those defenses. I'm very glad to give you an Intrepid ES. It's a great car. It's a new cab forward design. and it's going to be an international performer like you are. So,
thank you very much. Thank you for sponsoring the game, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Laundrie. Doug, you were like a man from Intrepid today. I'm not sure if James West got in barking distance of you.
James didn't talk too much today, but he did help me off the ground once or twice. They got some shots on me. He's a class act. He was just having fun this week. But offensively, we just really executed well.
In the Bedlam, I didn't hear Scott Oak's interview with you, but why so much success today? It seemed like you could do it at will.
Well, they were playing a lot of man-to-man coverage, and we were getting some good matchups with slot backs on linebackers. And, man-to-man, we've got talented receivers. Guys are going to get open. The problem there is getting time to throw. I was grabbing the ball and getting rid of it quickly.
Just take us through one of the touchdowns here.
I'm trying to figure out which one this one. This looks like the one to Pitsy.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, he ran a corner route. He got an inside release, which made it a little tough, so he looped over the top, did a great job breaking hard to the sideline, and I just gunned it in on a rope. And he made a nice catch on the ball near the sideline.
Well, you've always come up big when it counts. How big is this?
This is as big as they come, and it's just a great feeling. I made the move. I was a little uncertain about it at first, but this is a talented football team, and they made my job a lot easier.
I'll tell you, your dad showed me how much it meant to him when that touchdown pass was completed. He was in tears.
Well, he's a very emotional man, and he's always been there beside me. My wife and my family, we're very tight. And it means a lot to me to have all of my family here today.
Doug, congratulations. A real thrill watching you this year.
By the way, today's little Dougie Jr.'s birthday. So happy birthday to my son. We got to get a picture of him in the Grey Cup.
It's a happy birthday, that's for sure. And now we're going to call in Commissioner Larry Smith, who once was a teammate of Wally Bono, so I know you have some special feelings about that.
Well, the game was unbelievable. Calgary was so well prepared, and they played the kind of football, the kind of football we played in the 70s with Marv Levy, and I thought I was watching Marv on the sidelines. But Calgary deserved it. Winnipeg had a great season, but the better team won today.
Okay, Larry, we'll allow you to do the honors now, making the presentation for the top Canadian in the 92 Grey Cup game.
Well, Dave, I'm very proud to present you this award as top Canadian. You had an outstanding contest, an outstanding season. This is a carving. That's just a little thing, but I'm like Santa Claus now, Dave. We have, just so you can relax and warm up and get yourself ready for next year, a trip for two to Hawaii.
All right.
All expenses paid, plus $2,000, plus a Sony Entertainment Center. So that's not too bad.
Not bad at all.
Fantastic. Thanks you, Larry. Thank you very much.
No word on whether we're going to rename it the Dave Sapungis Award. David's second year in a row, but obviously this one much sweeter.
It is. I've said so many times the individual awards are not a big thing. It's the team awards, and what can I say? We've talked about winning the Grey Cup since last year, and it happened. You guys are so happy. I've always wanted this feeling.
Yet it stings. We're going to take a look at your touchdown. Maybe you can lead us through it.
All right. We had a corner pattern on for me, and we had a linebacker lined up against me, and we feel that's a mismatch. Doug just threw the ball up perfectly. It landed right in my hands. Doug had an excellent game. What can I say? Touchdown. Start us off. But we were going to win it anyway.
We're doing a little jockeying here because I want to get your neighbor in here. The North Toronto boys came through today. What, do you live 2 or 3 doors down from each other? Did you ever dream you'd do it together?
I never thought Andy and I'd be on the same team and from the same high school, the same street. What can I say, Andy? How about that? The Toronto boys will be proud of us this week, but more importantly, the people in Calgary are going to be happy. I mean, they've deserved it for too long.
Perfect. We got to bring Andy McVeigh in for a quick comment. Andy?
Hey, it was fantastic today. Nothing was better than being out there. Sponge played fantastic. We also had some great other Canadian players. Matt Finley, our defense did fantastic. And it's great winning at home, but I tell you, this means so much. All the guys back in Nick's, all my buddies, Spallatini, guys cheered for us all year long, and it feels fantastic.
Congratulations, and the champagne flowing here in the Calgary Stampeder dressing room. Grey Cup champions, and we'll be back with more right after this. Woo! Back to Skydome. The Calgary Stampeders are champions. The drought is over, and the fans here at Skydome, a pro-Calgary crowd today, still celebrating inside the building and inside the locker room. The celebration and the champagne continues. Here's the leading receiver in the Canadian Football League this year, and a big game for you, Alan Pitts. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, I just want to thank God, for giving our team the strength to come out here and play the way we did tonight. This is a class organization. From the beginning of the season, this has been our objective, we've worked for that all year, and it just feels great to get this win.
You know, we use the term businesslike. It almost seems businesslike in here. The champagne was flowing for a while, but everybody's quiet, and it seems like everybody's content the job was well done.
Well, I think, maybe it has something to do with this is all new to the most of us, so I guess it really hasn't hit us all quite that much. I know it hasn't hit me. It feels great, but it just hasn't hit me yet.
There was a time when I wasn't sure there were enough balls for all the receivers here, the way Doug Flutie can throw it. He's got so many targets, but he seemed to make everybody happy today.
Definitely. We anticipated them coming after Doug quite a bit, and that left their linebackers and defensive backs one-on-one with our receivers, and anytime you do that, we're going to win the battle. So Doug did a great job of getting the ball off quick and distributing it around today.
Alan, congratulations. Great offensive day for you, but it was a great defensive day as well. And we bring in Big Daddy Marvin Pope, who really solidified the rush defense. Michael Richardson wasn't a factor today.
No, he wasn't a factor. We knew we had to come out and shut him down, and that's what we did, We knew that we was the best team, best defense in the league. And to Wild West and all them mouth-talking boys, yeah, talking that noise.
We're going to try and take a look at play with you and Matt Dunnigan.
Well, right there, Finley called the play, and I was blitzing, right, and I had to adjust, and the hole opened up because of my defensive line getting so much pressure, and, I just took it and went with it.
Marvin, this defense was so much tougher against the run when you came into the lineup 6 or 7 weeks ago. Were you surprised they didn't run more on first down with Richardson?
Well, we thought they was going to run, but after 2 or 3 series, we shut it down, and we knew that they couldn't run anymore. So, the run was nullified.
Congratulations to Marvin Pope, and now we bring in another big guy, the Tuna. What a rookie year for you. Bruce Coverton just about went perfect. An offensive lineman award would have been nice too, but I'm sure this makes it feel great.
This is unbelievable. Come in the league first year, get drafted by Calgary, get the nomination, and then win the Grey Cup. It's like a dream come true. Just glad to be part of the Calgary organization.
Well, they said this battle would be won in the trenches as the champagne flows, and you guys dominated that area.
Well, we knew they were going to bring a lot of heat, and Doug told us we'd give him a couple seconds even, and he's going to win it. He's going to win it for us, and he did. We gave him time, and then give credit to our defense. They stopped everything. Richardson wasn't even a factor, and we got some good shots on Dunnigan, and so things went well.
Bruce, congratulations from first draft choice overall to top of the heap here at the end of 1992. Stamps are great.
Say hi to everyone in Winnipeg, and
we'll be back
Brian
with more
and Jen
after
down at the
this.
ranch, baby.
Woo! How you doing, buddy?